Things you own end up owning you.
What's going on, cutie pies? It's been a while. Hope you're all doing well out there and not drinking any oat milk. My guest today is my friend Nick Stumphauzer. Nick is a filmmaker based in Florida. I recently made a post on my Instagram about some thoughts on testosterone, PEDs, and some general views about our current fitness steroid culture. Nick saw the post and thought that we should talk about it. Well, here's that conversation, and I hope you enjoy listening to it. Thanks for coming on. Let's have a chat.
Yeah.
So I posted something on my Instagram, right? I posted a post. Posted a post. Is that how you're supposed to say it? I don't know.
Yeah, feed.
Yeah, I posted on my feed. No, I made a post to my feed. See, there we go. There we go. I made a post to my feed about, I think it was about what, like protein versus like steroids kind of. You know, I took a picture of some shitty old protein that I've bought and used before. And, you know, many years ago, I just literally found it sitting in the back of my cupboard. And a bottle of a testosterone. And
which just happened to also be in the back of your cupboard.
I don't know if it was in my cupboard. It was just in a cupboard. I don't know whose cupboard it was. And you wrote to me and you're like, "Hey, dude, let's talk about this." So first of all, I mean, what triggered your response of like, "Hey, man, I want to talk about it." What was so interesting to you?
I think because it was sort of the straw that broke the camel's back of like that Nate Diaz quote that like everybody takes steroids, dude.
Yes.
And
Stockton,
you've just been so transparent about everything and are able to unequivocally poke fun at all of it. But it was doubly interesting. First, I knew you didn't have a bottle of testosterone by chance because I know what that bottle looks like and I know where it comes from. And I also recognize that it wasn't like a coming out post. Mm-hmm. It was like a intentionally worded stop equivocating apples and oranges. And I should go back. What did you say precisely?
Yeah, that was the thought that I had because, you know, like I'll tell you where it came from. It came from experience on myself and with clients because, you know, I'm a PT. It's what I do for work. So I work with a lot of clients over the years. It came from a lot of years of, you know, people, and it's not just teenagers and it's not just those people. Oh, those are the teenagers. They're stupid. They don't understand that drugs and protein powders are not the same. No, man. People in their 40s and their 50s. I have clients ranging from teenagers to 50, 60. My oldest client is 60 something. You know, people really do think that if you take some of this protein powder, you will really look like that dude on the Men's Health cover. Like,
yeah.
That's what, yeah. I mean, do they think that that's the only thing that you need to do? No, of course not. No, they're not that stupid. They know that they diet hard. They probably understand that they have a special diet. They probably understand that they do cardiovascular training. But what they really, really don't understand is that it's actually mostly the fucking testosterone and it's mostly the steroids. Does that mean that those people are, you know, like I said, not doing anything else? They're not training hard. They're not putting in their time. They're not being consistent. No, of course not. But I just want it to be like a real, you know, in-your-face message of like, stop even thinking that they're even close. You know, I think I said like, it's like comparing apples to oranges, but it's really like comparing apples to the planet Jupiter. You know, it's like completely a different fucking thing.
Yeah, with supplements, something that I noticed moving from the normie community to the niche Ray Peat bioenergetic perspective is the supplements that Ray popularized, I actually felt when I took them. Mm-hmm. Like when I took progesterone for the first time, it's like a half glass of wine, full glass of wine feeling. Music sounded totally different. This is my first drop ever. Mm-hmm. But never have I like taken vitamin C and been like, holy shit, this is it. then I got into SARMs and steroids and stuff, and like that was just a whole new level of, you take a pill and the pill has a legitimate effect. Oh my God.
Well, tell me about that. So tell me, what was do you remember, like, I don't know, was it watching Rich Piana on YouTube, or was it somebody, you know what I'm saying? Because we all have that like person, or was it Dr. Tony Huge, or you know what I'm saying? There's always that one person, or maybe I don't know, a documentary, which, you know, I told you to watch. We'll talk about it later. But yeah. What kind of got you thinking like, maybe I want to fuck around with some of this stuff?
It was a bunch of stuff. So I have narcolepsy, and I was diagnosed about two and a half years ago. And when I was researching the the symptomology of narcolepsy, it was very similar to low testosterone. It was like, can't get out of bed, unwanted weight gain, low motivation, like all these things. I'm like, well, oh my gosh, maybe I have low testosterone. So I did like the spit test and sent it in, and it came back at like 646 nanograms per deciliter, and my free T was perfect. And I was like, wow, what the hell? This doesn't make any sense. And at this point, I had zero experience. Like many people in this community, if I'm interested in something, I'll just go research the hell out of it. And I have never touched the subject of steroids. I trained natural for 6 years. I always looked down on people who even came near the stuff. It was cheating. You're a bad person. It's unhealthy. You're not telling me that you do it. So like, I know you're a bad person. And then I started to just Greg Doucette and More Plates, More Dates, and just absorbing every bit of content that I could.
Yeah,
lots of repeat forum.
More Plates, More Dates. That guy, I like that guy. But he's, you know, he's really fucking new to the scene, you know. I'm obviously, I've been around in it a lot longer than that. I mean, I've been around in it since YouTube was even a thing. I mean, when I was growing up, you know, YouTube was that dude talking about how to keep your fridge stocked to get many ladies. Have you seen that video? Do you know what I'm talking about?
No.
See, you don't even know what I'm talking about, brother. If you haven't seen that video, please, for the love of God, go to YouTube and type in "keeping your fridge stocked will get you many women." And it's just this dude. It's this like black dude in the ghetto somewhere, and he's just like, he's like, yeah, you want to keep iced tea for those like hipster chicks, you know, for those hippie bitches, and then you want to keep Kool-Aid for the gangster bitches, and he's just explaining like all the drinks that he has in his fridge, and it's like everything. It's like red, because this is like back in the day, so it was like cool to have like a stack of Red Bull just going all the way to the back, and then he goes, I ain't fronting, this shit goes all the way to the back. I ain't fronting. Like, you know, it's not like one Red Bull in the front. It's like a Red Bull stack going to the back of the fridge, and then like an iced tea stack going to the back of the fridge.
This is like 08 YouTube.
Yeah, bro. that's what I'm saying. So this is like before any of these guys existed, and talking about steroids was even a thing, because it was still in the times of like, you have like Lee Haney. Do you know who Lee Haney is? Like bodybuilder.
I know.
I mean, Lee Haney is like was a bodybuilder in the 80s, but there's like a really classic film of his training, and he looks at the camera and he's like, "Don't take steroids. I never take steroids." And it's like he's Mr. Olympia. You understand? So from whenever people started talking about steroids to early YouTube, 08, 09, 11, 12, that was the mentality with steroids. Nobody talked about it. It was like, why would they take steroids? What are you talking about? That's crazy. And I think the first guy, I mean, you know, I don't know everything, but I think the first guy that really kind of broke through that was actually Rich Piana. That's who I think started the whole like, hey bro, you're a fucking dumbass. Obviously I take steroids. Like, obviously,
I just did arms for 6 hours.
By the way, it's 8 hours. Don't get it wrong, you son of a bitch.
Oh, my bad. Rest in peace.
Rest in peace. So yeah, man. So it really has evolved, and honestly, like, I'm surprised to see a guy like Derek, because, yeah, and I think Derek is the next wave of that, and God bless him. I mean, he's doing good stuff, because he is being that guy. I feel like he took over that role of like, bro, what's that Indian actor that has like the jaw of a fucking shark now?
Kumail Nanjiani.
Yeah. It's like, yes, he took steroids. Like, it's so blatantly obvious. But, you know, if this was 08 YouTube, it would be like, what? Steroids?
Hard work, bro. That's just like,
it's oatmeal and getting up at 5 a.m. and fasted cardio and fucking chicken and broccoli. So I really like that guy. I'm enjoying that guy. So Greg Doucette and him have kind of been talking a lot about that, and that what kind of inspired you to start thinking about some of that stuff.
That was the education. It took a lot of internal reframing for me to get to a point where I didn't feel shame for considering it and then taking it. And it wasn't until on the Repeat forum and a few guys there in a group chat where we experimented with testosterone-based powder dissolved in DMSO applied transscrotally.
Wow, you guys went next level. Although
we went
now it's the most common prescription actually to get the gel on your balls. So yeah, interesting.
And so we tried that, and I don't think it worked very well. and then kind of once I broke the seal, then I started tinkering with different things, whether it was SARMs or and sourcing was always the most terrifying thing, because I was 20 at the time, 22 now, and you can't just like call up an anti-aging clinic. Well, actually, technically you can. I did do that eventually.
Really?
But, yeah, I did. Well, because I crashed my testosterone with Winstrol because that DMSO test base wasn't sufficient for some reason, and I was taking Winstrol and it went down to 91 nanograms per deciliter.
Oh man.
And then I could send that blood work to an anti-aging clinic, and they were like, "Oh, this kid's got hypogonadism. Let's get him on."
Woohoo! Yeah.
Testosterone right away. And so then I did that. I'm skipping over a bunch, but then I took injection, prescription, doctor prescribed testosterone for a while, and then it just felt so wrong to be shooting up like PUFA. into my shoulders. I was like, there's nothing about this seems sustainable or good or healthy. and now I just do pregnenolone and 50 milligrams of oxandrolone, and that's it.
And so how was your experience with testosterone, with real injectable testosterone?
It pulled me out of a slump for sure.
Mm-hmm.
But I also, and I held a lot more muscle than I would have been able to naturally. I was sitting around 210, 215. I'm 5'8". And then, but there was a lot of water, and I just kind of felt like a water balloon, estrogenic in general. And then when I stopped, it's like I deflated, and I just came back down to like a natural 200. Felt a lot better. I feel like I looked better, and my libido, my musculature, mood, all that stuff has been sustained with pregnenolone, thyroid, and oxandrolone.
Wow. And this TRT, this is from like one of those like Florida clinics, like doctor clinics, quote unquote, right? Where like you just walk in. It's kind of like,
I didn't even walk in, dude.
Oh, you didn't even have to walk in? Oh, that's brilliant. I love that. It's like the weed clinics out here in California,
Exactly.
you used to have to go to. Now you don't even have to do that. But back then you just walk in and you look at it, the doctor looks at you and you're like, "Yeah, man, my fucking knee hurts." And he's like, "Really?" And you're like, "Yeah, dude, for like 3 months, my knee's been hurting." And he's like, "Oh my God, let's get you a prescription." It's just like for anything. And then I have other friends that would just be like, "I can't sleep."
Yeah.
I just can't.
Yeah, no, that was
and
exactly.
This doctor, I mean, I guess they have a real medical degree, right? There's a doctor there, some sort of doctor. And they're just like, "Really?" Like, they're not like, "Well, have you tried, like, I don't know, not watching YouTube until 3 a.m.? Like, they don't ask you anything else. They just go, "Really?" And you go, "Yeah.
Yeah.
Can't fucking sleep at all. Like, not one bit." And then it's always some doctor, too, with, like, fucking dreads or something. They have, like, they're the wildest looking doctor ever. They have, like, a fucking Led Zeppelin t-shirt, They're like, wow. I remember when I had that back in the 70s. And then, you know what happened then? I started smoking weed. I started sleeping like a baby. So let's get you a prescription.
Like
oh, man.
Yeah, that was the exact analogy that I used when I realized that these clinics were popping up, and that 20-year-olds and 18-year-olds could get a doctor's prescription without physically seeing the doctor, from blood work that they have no idea where it came from. and they'd ship it right to your door. And I remember because I moved from Michigan, and when I got my weed card at age 17, 18, I did the same thing. Like I have Tourette's, and all I had to do was say like I had a recurring condition, and this doctor gave me this such pretend serious interview and then wrote me a script, and like 18-year-old Nick was just like walking to clinics and getting mind altering,
just getting stoned. Man, 17, that's early for weed though. But I mean, I guess these days, I mean, in California, I know like 14-year-olds that have vape pens. They're just smoking every day because they have anxiety. So, you know, they're just getting high all day. I don't know, man. I think if I would have done that, well, first of all, when I tried weed really young, I didn't like it. I was one of those people that just like, you know, you have that like, I feel anxious. I don't like the feeling of kind of feeling my body is sliding out of my body or whatever, however you want to describe it. I just was like, fuck this, you know. Weed was not a thing. When I was 19 or 20 in college, I went to a party. We got drunk, as people usually do. And then this girl whose house we were at, her uncle had a lot of edibles, and she pulls out this massive, and this is California, right? This is like, you know, massive California cookie. And she's like, yeah, guys, you guys want to do this edible? And I've never done edibles ever in my life. I had no idea that it's a completely different thing, right? And I've only smoked or puffed like a few times. And like I said, in those times I hated it. But I was like, yeah, whatever. So she breaks this fucking thing in half. And there's three of us by this point. The party's winding down. She breaks this thing in half. She gives me a whole half. And I eat the whole half. And like 30 minutes go by and I'm like, guys, I think I was too drunk. I'm not feeling shit. And they're like, okay. And like 45 minutes go by and I'm like, yeah, we should get going. I'm going to call a cab. So I call a cab. An hour goes by and then the cab, this is back in the day. Again, cabs, you know, you have to call a cab. Sorry. Yeah. For those people that don't know, you actually have to fucking call a cab.
Is that like Uber for old fucks?
Oh man, yeah. This is like when Ray Pete was 20. You know what I'm saying? And this fucking cab pulls up, and literally as it pulls up, about an hour and 15, because I had no idea that it takes so long either to feel it. I opened the cab, and by the way, it was like, I don't know if it was like a sign from God or something. But of all the cab people that I could have had that night, I got the scariest looking cab motherfucker ever. This guy had a hoodie on at night, a hoodie on and a hat. And he was like, just this, and he turns at me and I think it's like fucking Green Reaper turning at me. And I'm like, ah! You know, and I get in the cab and then my friends are trying to calm me down. They're like, you're good, man. And I'm sitting in the car and we're driving and I'm going to my house and I'm like looking at every street sign. And the street signs that I recognize, I'm like, okay, I know where we're at. And then the street signs, like the names of the streets that I don't know, I'm like, oh my God, he's going to take me in the alley and fucking kill me. And I'm like freaking out. And finally I got home and then I just barfed all over my brother's bedroom. So that's a whole other story too.
Amazing.
Yeah, so that was my experience with weed. So I hated weed. So I'm kind of surprised at people that, not surprised, it's interesting how biology is so different that you have kids that are 17 years old and I'm guessing you were enjoying it for the time that you had it, right?
No. It was terrible. It was never a good decision, and it made my life worse. And I don't recommend it to anyone.
Wow, very nice.
Dead serious. And it culminated, the last time that I ingested any molecule of THC was when I overdosed. Don't let anyone tell you that you can't overdose on marijuana.
No, bro, nobody's ever died from weed, bro. I'm telling you. Takes a hit.
I did. I didn't die. But 500 milligrams of 99% pure THC oil ingested orally.
Yeah, but see, dude, that's where I think it's like, at least if you're going to go down that road, just stick to normal, actual plant substance, right? Like, don't do oils or edibles. I think that's where the fucking really, really intense, crazy shit happens. And people literally lose their minds on that shit. I know multiple people that have.
Yeah, it was unsettling, and that is sort of a, you know, but the analogy of like a testosterone clinic in that and this is where I get pissed at the whole medical community. I have eschewed doctors entirely. I think that the medical industry needs to burn along with every other institution, federal institution. But the idea that these people are drug dealers. They do not care about your well-being. And then the farcical hoops and acrobatics that we have to jump through as a consumer to get things often that aren't for our own well-being is just insufferable. Like the fact that I have to pay 10 times more than I should, probably 20 times more than I should, for a molecule of something like testosterone or DHT or whatever it is, from a doctor who's never seen me, who is doing the minimal blood work to cover his own ass so I don't sue him for malpractice, and never takes my blood pressure once, doesn't take my hematocrit, just sends me drugs to my door. And then and then the stigma that's around this, it's just the whole thing is sickening, the whole structure.
And you were talking about prices, and prices are going up. Do you know who Scooby is? Talk about another OG.
Of course.
You know Scooby? Yeah. Big muscular gay guy on YouTube that does these videos. I love watching his videos. So he had a video maybe, I don't know, a year ago or something where he was just bitching about fucking testosterone prices are going up. And yeah, man, even people like Scooby are affected and angered by it because it is crazy.
Public about has he been public about his
yes for a few years now. I don't know how many exactly or when, but again, back when I knew who Scooby was, Scooby's first video was him doing push-ups on his fists on the floor of like a, you've seen that video, yeah? And he's just going ugh, ugh, and his fucking Scooby like grunt that he has, and then he's supersetting it with flies. And for like, I don't know, 5 years, he would just post videos like that and, wear his hat and have his gnome like, well, guys, I don't know what you're talking, right? And so he would just do that. And it wasn't until much, much later, again, when YouTube became a real thing, is that when I think he finally was like, yeah, I take testosterone. But again, see, with people like Scooby, that's where I have problems with it again, because people think, oh, this is an old guy that has a prescription who has a disease of low testosterone. So he's prescribed this thing, meaning like I could do what he's doing, but I don't have that disease. So, like I could totally look like him. It's just his years of hard work. It's just la. Well, like, am I saying Scooby has not dedicated his entire fucking life to being like as lean as possible and to, work out all the time and to do his like 40-mile bike rides or whatever he does? No, I'm not. I know that guy, like, he's truly dedicated. And he's like a smart motherfucker. He's like an engineer. He builds his own planes and all kinds of stuff. But what I am going to say is that he wouldn't look like he does without those things. He has the body of literally Superman, right? He has that fucking comical... I mean, he has such a structure that has that comic bodybuilder body. Big old chest, kind of regular biceps. And then he has, like, not a six-pack, but just a flat tummy. And he just has that perfect look. And that is because he's on steroids, because he's taking testosterone. That's another thing too with people. Sorry, I keep blabbering, but well, I guess is what we're here to do. But when people say steroids, they think like, oh well, no, I'm not on steroids. I have testosterone prescription. And I just like want to like fucking hit my head against the wall because, okay, guys, if you don't know, steroids are derivatives of testosterone. Okay, it's yes, it's the same thing.
So it's cortisone. It's like sterone, steroid, glucocorticoid. Like this is all derivatives of endogenous.
Yes.
Can I give you my thesis of?
Go for it.
All right. Here's my thesis and sort of what I wanted to shout from the rooftops after I saw your post. Mm-hmm. Everyone right now, women, children, old people, is taking exogenous hormones whether they like it or not. Mm-hmm. Every shower, every bite of food, every glass of water, all of it, it's filled with hormones and hormone mimetics. But typically, I'd say all of those sources that I just listed, those are hormones that turn frogs gay, that turn women infertile,
turn the frogs gay.
They're all hormones and hormone mimetics that are making us fat, lazy, stupid, autistic, low thyroid, infertile. And you want to tell me that if I take the inverse, the protective androgens, the progesterones, that I'm cheating, that I'm a bad person, that I'm going to hurt myself, and that we need to regulate through the nose these substances. And I would argue that it's actually more unsafe and more unhealthy, just strictly speaking, males here, for someone my generation and younger, and even into your generation and older, to not take supplemental protective androgens such as THT, testosterone, and pregnenolone in safe amounts.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
That's my thesis.
Okay. And it's a good thesis. And that thesis, although I like that thesis, but it has been around for a little bit, for quite a bit.
Oh, yeah. I am not the inventor of that, for sure.
Well,
who did? There was like an endocrine disrupting chemical thesis, or what was that guy? There was like an actual guy who kind of codified this originally.
I don't know, man. I don't know. Maybe if you can come up with a name, maybe I've heard of him, but I don't know. So, okay, well, let's delve into that a little bit, like of your thesis, right? So, like you said, everything is filled with all kinds of crap, right? People are taking whatever, even your Neosporin, right? It has fucking hormones in it. So in that sense, it's like, yeah, why should you be able to take a cortisone shot if your knee hurts, but I, who just wants to not degrade lower, right, and stay above ground, why shouldn't I be allowed to take some steroids and testosterone and do whatever the fuck I want to do? Right? That's kind of where we're going to. Yeah,
and the societal. Well, so there's that aspect of it, sort of like the libertarian of like, what's my body, my choice. But also, I think and again, like you said, this is not my thesis, this is not my hypothesis, but the idea that we are surrounded with substances that are doing the opposite of what things like steroids do.
Right.
EMF, and how all
food,
of it,
water, light, right? Kind of everything.
Every aspect of our environment is antithetical, and I'm just going to focus on the masculine here. It's in opposition to masculinity. Mm-hmm. And you could argue that that's not an accident, or it is an accident, but to know that something as simple as DHT can do for the body in the opposite direction of what the SSRIs and birth control pills that are in like the shower that's hitting you every day is doing. Yes. And then as a society, we have like these moral qualms about like, well, we'll mention take it because that's cheating.
Yes.
And I'm not even talking about sports, just like in our sort of health niche community.
Yeah, it's still looked at like that, right? If we're going with that thesis, right? It's like, yeah. I mean, yeah, I feel like most people really don't know what the fuck steroids do. People that haven't done them,
right.
Or even the ones that watch the fucking YouTube videos. Because it's one thing to watch something, and it's a complete different thing to experience something. I've read, again, this is back in the day when there was no more plates, more dates, talking about how many milligrams. This is back in the day. People used to post all kinds of nonsense on these fucking steroids forums, dude. They would say like, oh yeah, I'm taking fucking Winstrol, and I'm taking Anavar, and I'm taking fucking testosterone. And dude, if you don't take testosterone, that Winstrol Anavar ain't gonna work, man. It's not gonna work at all. They would say nonsense stuff like that. It's like, yeah, fucking, it will work. Trust me. Have you done it? No. It's just, and like, over time you get kind of used to those posts, and you kind of start to understand like, oh, that's definitely a 14-year-old in like fucking Kansas. Yep. That's like fucking 13-year-old that's never done steroids. So it's one thing to like see stuff and read about it and know what they do, and another thing to experience them. That's the first thing I want to say. Second thing is like, well, hold on. Let me gather my thoughts here for a second. Well, I wanted to bring up, because what you're talking about is kind of like what the documentary, if you haven't seen it, Bigger, Stronger, Faster, is talking about. Yes. And now you've never seen it before, so I recommended it to you that you watch it before we talk. And if you haven't seen it, seriously check it out, guys. It's pretty interesting. It's by the Bell brothers. Well, specifically not Mark Bell. Who's the smaller one? Chris Bell, I think. I think Chris Bell is his name.
Chris, yeah.
And he's done other documentaries about
opioids, I think, was the other one.
What's that green stuff that people take? It's like you can buy it at like a hookah shop or whatever to relax you.
Kratom?
Kratom, bingo. That one. He's done a documentary about that.
Has he?
Yeah. So check it out. You haven't seen that one either?
No, but he did an excellent job with Bigger, Stronger, Faster. I was seriously impressed.
Yes, and that was my initial when I first saw it, me too, I was like, yeah, what the fuck, man? Because so people don't know, the documentary talks about, well, how does it start? It starts with him trying to kind of realizing in his, I don't know, 30s or something, right? That like all of these people that he's been looking up to, Hulk Hogan, The Rock, I don't know, Arnold, they were all using exogenous hormones. They were all using steroids, to be specific.
From day one.
From day one, yeah, or as long as possible.
Like Arnold, it was like 15.
Yes, yes, and his entire life growing up, he had that other worldview of people that would look at these people and he would think, oh my God, those are cheaters. Why would you ever want to do that? And back in those days, again, nobody talked about it. Arnold didn't talk about his fucking steroid use. Hulk Hogan didn't talk about that stuff. It was all about taking your vitamins and eating your chicken and broccoli and working out every day.
Saying your prayers.
Saying your prayers, brother. Yeah, that's right. And then he kind of realized that like, yeah, everybody's been taking them. And he also knows that his brother has been taking them, who's was a world-class powerlifter at one point. Not anymore, I don't think, but Mark Bell, right? And he interviews all kinds of people. He interviews his brother. He asks him like, "Hey, yeah, let's talk about it." And his brother talks about it like, "Yeah, man, I take them all the fucking time. I love steroids. I'm probably not ever gonna stop taking them."
Yeah.
And then the other kind of quarrel that you get to is like, if steroids are why do we view steroids as such a bad thing, right? Yeah. And it comes from that place of like you said, you're a cheater. You're not putting in hard work. You're just taking something and you're getting the results. And right away, it's, yeah, go ahead.
Well, just on that very last point, it's this idea that if you add anything to you beyond what you were given at birth, that is somehow a supplement to your moral character, and that's shameful, because all you should have is just kind of what comes from within.
Right.
And it's hilarious because, and I know this is kind of an overused pastiche, but if you've ever drank a coffee to perform better at a meeting,
yeah,
you took performance enhancing drugs.
Yes. And
when you eat breakfast because you have a better day when you fuel yourself with glucose, like the line of demarcation between like what's acceptable and what isn't typically only starts to be discussed in two areas: well-being and competition. Mm-hmm. And the competition thing, I think, can be dismissed easily if we just all agree that everyone's doing it. Okay, move on. And then what Bigger, Stronger, Faster really kind of focused on a lot was how lethal are these really? And it turns out that there has been an enormous decades-long propaganda campaign to make it seem like steroids are more toxic to the body than they are. Right.
So that's where like I said, upon first viewing years ago when it came out, I think I might have saw it in theaters. It came out a long time ago. That was my impression too. And I'm like, yeah, man. He says a line in there like, where are the bodies? Show me the bodies, right? Where are these people that are dying? And, he's right. Well, in some sense, right? That was my initial view, my initial thoughts about it was just like, yeah, he's fucking right. Like, I know so many dudes have been taking steroids for years and they're fine, and they look good. So yeah, maybe they're not as deadly as we're all told. But now, as the time has gone on, and I've thought about this more, and I've been around the industry more, and I've seen things come and go, and I've realized that, you know what, man, I think it's not either or. In life we wanted to like make things so simple as usual, right? We want like this is the right side, this is the wrong side, or the opposite. I think there's a spectrum, man, because you can go on YouTube today and you can type in steroid bodybuilder deaths, and there's videos. There's definitely a few videos of compilations of people that have died. Mike Mentzer, famous bodybuilder, everybody likes his training style, died. His brother Ray died. Kidney problems, heart problems. Mm-hmm. There are people that have died from steroids, right? Yep. So that's the only thing where like now, years after seeing the documentary and thinking about it and viewing things, I'm like, Yeah, I don't think it's that simple. I mean, do we have a moral problem, right? It's like, yes, we do, because we think that steroids is bad automatically means you're an asshole. That automatically means you're not putting in hard work. You're not doing anything that's challenging to you. But on the other hand, do I think that you should just be popping steroids and, like THC, just like, oh, walk in. All right, bro. Anavar, let's go, motherfucker. No. Have there been people that have died from taking too much steroids? Yeah, Rich Piana, we just mentioned him. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, and that's where I appreciate Ray's perspective on a lot of this, which is that if you're taking anything that is a derivative of the naturally produced hormones, it will be toxic. And obviously, if you take a large amount, which all the people you just listed, like if somebody thinks that if they take Anavar, they're going to die the Rich Piana death or the Mike Metzer death, that is definitely wrong.
Yes.
that is
wrong. I mean, yes,
disproportionate.
Yes, I agree with you.
But so Ray is right on one thing, which is like, hey, Mysterolone, Proviron, that's a DHT derivative, and it's unsafe because it affects the liver, unlike taking DHT. Okay, but I think Ray is wrong in that in 1887 when he was born, if you nibbled on the edge of a thyroid pill, the flowers blossomed around you.
Yes.
and everything was back to normal. And now today, I do think it is the case that we do need to push back against the environment way harder, and that there are smarter ways to do that and dumber ways. And I wish I knew what I know talking to you today 2 years ago, and what I will know in 2 years today, because I've spent thousands of dollars and probably put my body through unnecessary stressors and toxins, getting to a point where I understand that something as simple as pregnenolone, progesterone, T3, and DHT in appropriate doses are probably enough for the rest of your life.
So if you were supreme leader, though, and you got to make a decision, we're going to have clinics that you can go into, you can get steroids, just like Mexico, right? You go into a pharmacia, you can buy them right off the shelf. Would you make it like that in the U.S. or not? Yes or no?
Be binary.
I would no, but I'm saying, no. Because that's how laws happen, right? You got to make a decision. You got to yes or no. Yeah. Can you do it? Can you walk in and get it or not? Or keep it the way it is. You got to get a TRT prescription. Which, I mean, again, as we talked about, it's not that fucking hard these days, right? If you really want to get a TRT prescription. Right.
You can do it. It's easy. But I would say no. I wouldn't have it a la Mexico. I'm struggling to answer that without it immediately branching off into questions of how to structure a country.
Well, I understand. But like I said, at the end of the day, it's just like yes or no. Are you going to be able to walk in pharmacia or not? Mexico, you can do it. No.
I'd say no. And then I'd love to have a law that hangs by the neck until dead every single individual who has contributed to the emasculation and effeminization of the world through their pollution.
So what you're saying then, people, because again, I don't think most people that take, by the way, these things that people take, these steroids that people find or TRT, a lot of that shit's made in like home bathtubs and stuff like that. A lot of it is made in, a lot of it is smuggled from Mexico. Used to be from Thailand and places like that, but it's harder because it's so far away. But Mexico is pretty close, like especially in LA. Like you can find that stuff really easy here because it's just Tijuana's 2 hours away. So what was I saying? Because you brought up that question about Ray Pete talking about nibbling on a little piece of what is it, thyroid pill? Yeah.
And it's like I think 1 milligram of testosterone after you've solved all of your other nutrient deficiencies is sufficient. And I'm like,
yes. Well, so what I was saying is like, I feel most people that take that shit, they're not doing it because what you're saying, pushing back against their environment.
Correct.
Do we agree on that? Right. Most
no
people,
question.
They're doing it because they want to look hot on the beach, right? And they want to get chicks, or chicks want to compete in their bikini fitness stupid fucking shows, which, by the way, I fucking hate those. God, they're the worst. If there's anything more stupid than watching dudes on a stage flexing and like turning, it's watching women do it. It's just, I don't know, something about it is so retarded. I don't know, dude. Have you ever been to one of those?
No, I had an ex who was a bikini competitor.
Oh,
and
dude, you should have went with her and checked it out. It's just, you meet crazy people. These people are I'm sorry to stereotype all of you. You know, I'm sure there's good people out there, but you know, but I just find it so, God, it's just like, you know, and as with, you know, I want to talk about bodybuilding. We wanted to talk about that and stuff and how it evolved over the years. And, you know, I definitely think it has evolved into more levels of crazy, you know, than it used to be. So that's another thing. But yeah, man, I don't know. You got to go to one of those shows and just talk to some of those people. I'm telling you, it's really fascinating, the things that those people will tell you.
Well, I think that's probably a good segue into, because the last line in Bigger, Stronger, Faster, which was worth the whole film, is steroids aren't the problem. They're just another side effect of being American. And I thought that was just, it's so good. He's so right in every way. And I know it is just so fun to just beat the crap out of America. Like, you guys have no culture and all you want is like Big Macs and big titties and stuff.
Right. But that is the culture, though. That's my issue with Americans sometimes. When, you know, going to college in fucking liberal California, it was like, there is no culture. America's the melting pot. Listen to me. Go to Paris. Go to Moscow. Go to Beijing. Yeah. It's all a fucking melting pot at this point. We're not in 1920s anymore. There are people from all over. You go to Paris, there's more black people there in Africa in some places. I'm telling you. Like, fucking go and check. So it's kind of dumb, I think, in 2021, America, to say that America is a melting pot, because I think everywhere is a melting pot at this point. Right. Unless if you're in rural fucking Thailand or some shit. You know what I mean? Like, it really is becoming that way. So when people tell me that America has no culture, I'm like, what about jazz? What about fucking American Big Macs? That is the culture. It may be a culture of, you know, that's very new and young and still interpreting itself, but there's definitely a culture.
And I'm happy to be hypercritical of the culture that you just described of Bigger, Stronger, Faster. That it's kind of been a process of pulling my head out of my own ass to recognize what the Instagram fitness community is, what the YouTube fitness community is, what Christian Guzman has created.
Christian Guzman. I haven't heard that name in a while. Oh, man.
Right?
Is he still doing his thing? He's still like, whatever, like filming his house and shit? No?
I guess so. Clickbait titles. But I remember seeing, and I brought this up when I streamed with Kyle, there was like a 1919, 1920 men's beauty pageant. Have you seen this photo?
I think I know what you're talking about. You know who brought it up also? Joe Rogan's podcast. Joe Rogan brought that up.
Did he?
Yes.
What podcast is that?
Fuck, dude, I don't know. But I remember hearing about that years ago. This might have been like a Joey Diaz, like old school podcast or something. And they were talking about this. So it's describe the picture for us.
it's like men in striped trousers with handlebar mustaches and kind of small chests and arms, rather large bellies, good hair, and they're all just kind of
like flexing, like they're hot.
Yeah. And that was also emphasized too in Bigger, Stronger, Faster, where they had the G.I. Joe from the 70s, 80s, and 90s. And 70s, you couldn't see abs. 80s, you saw some abs, and by the 90s, you had like cut serratus, huge bulking muscles, and now in 2000s, it's just Bane, like the old Batman movie Bane.
we call it penis skin on your abs. Penis skin on your abs. You understand?
and what's so tragic, and I don't know how to return to monkey on this. I don't, but how do we go back to Sean Connery being the quintessence of manhood? Yeah.
So there's a lot of things to break down there. So first of all, that 1920s photo, although it's a real photo and everything, I will say that I don't know what kind of contest this was and where this was, but you know, like all things, like it's so easy to just be like, guys want the Playboy model look. Right? Yeah. Big tits, skinny waist, and long legs.
Yeah.
And I would be like, I don't like that look, actually. I don't like big breasts on a woman. I like small breasts and big ass. Yeah. I like that fake Kim Kardashian look. I don't like
because you're a gay European.
A little bit. Don't tell anybody. God damn it. Not supposed to say it on a podcast. But so it's so easy to be like, but of course, are there general like big rules? You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, blah, blah, blah. Like you don't want a woman to weigh 300 pounds. Like, yeah, okay. You know, there's overlap in those things. So what I'm kind of getting at is that like, I think maybe wherever they took this picture, maybe those were the hottest fucking guys at the time. But it doesn't mean that at that time there was no, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Oh, my bad. Something changed. Going on. Doesn't mean that at the time that there was no dudes that were muscular and had, you know, fucking big pecs and squatted and deadlifted and did all kinds of stuff.
Right.
Eugene Sandow. Do you know who Eugene Sandow is?
Isn't he the very first, like...
He's the guy that started Mr. Olympia contest. Okay, when Arnold or any of these guys, when they get the trophy of Mr. Olympia, that person, that's Eugene Sandow. Okay? And this was early 1900s. I think 1908 was the first one, something like that. Did he look like Big Ramy or whoever the fuck is the Phil? What's his name? Whatever.
Heath.
Yeah, Phil Heath. No. Did he have nice biceps, developed abs and legs? Yeah. So he looked like a muscular guy. So like I don't think that our conception of what looks good and what doesn't has evolved that much, because I'm sure back in 1920 there were some people that were like probably looked at those guys and were like, you know what I mean? It's got to be like that.
Well, because I put on the list of things, the statue of David.
Yes. Yeah. So it's like, it's not like, because there's this idea like in liberal colleges especially that it's like, oh, it's all society and magazines and Playboy and all these things have ruined our conception of what a person should look like. And it's like, have they done that to some degree? Yes, for sure. But is it like completely different? Like, I don't think so. I think it's still more or less the same. You know, you still want a muscular guy and you want a girl with some shape. And I think those things will stay for a while.
I would agree. And I appreciate that comment because I think it sort of redeems our orienting reflex as a society. Instead of saying that like our eyes and mind have become so perverted, it's like, yeah, we actually can recognize beauty, the creation of man, right? Both God and Adam are jacked and shredded.
Yes.
Like God is a shredded, bearded man.
Yes. And how many years ago was that, dude?
I don't know anything about history, but I think it was about 400, 500-ish.
Yeah, at least that.
So this was pre-Instagram. This was pre-steroids. And so what I think should be recognized, that the fitness community is like kind of in typical fitness community fashion, doing it as disingenuously as possible, is recognizing steroid use. And I can't. Who do you think popularized the coming out movement of steroids? Because it was recent. It was like within the last 2 years this happened. Where
Rich
it became
Piana
cool.
is the OG, bro. He's the OG.
He was the OG, but like in the last 2 years, all these influencers are now like Marine, Brandon Harding, obviously more plates, more dates. Greg Doucette.
See, to tell you the truth, those first two names you mentioned, I don't know who they are. So I'm kind of out of the loop. No, I'm just being honest. You know, like I said, I've been on it longer. You know, I was there at the early days. Like I said, the OG for sure is Rich Piana. Were there other guys? Yeah, I can't think of anybody else right now. Like I said, you know, if somebody thinks of somebody else, comment on our video, let us know. But I think
even Arnold was open about.
Yeah, I mean, when he became a movie star, he said, "Yes, I took testosterone at competition times." At competition times. Oh yeah, for 2 weeks before the competition, just to kind of harden up. That's all. I heard that he did it the day before, just to like really make sure his fucking biceps that are 25 inches around don't get smaller overnight. You know, like come on.
Yeah.
So there's been a progression, but you know, I mean, yeah, it's like, am I saying that people like Kim Kardashian that I brought up, haven't like fucking perverted people's view of beauty? Like, yeah, I think so. Like, do I think chicks should be going in and doing those Colombian fat injections? Like, you know, where they pull out fat out of your muffin top there, basically, and your abs. And then the belly button looks like a fucking stretched fish because they pull the skin back. You ever see that? Seriously. That's how you know, by the way. People ask me, how do I know it's fake? I'm like, just look at the belly button. You look at the belly button and it's like this. It's like if you have the mouth of a fish, try to describe it for the listeners, it's pulled open and it's like this like weird stretched looking belly button. And then they take that fat, boom, stick it into your ass. And then if you do the hard stuff, see, now this is where it comes in. That's like, again, that question of like, is it just the surgery or is it hard work? I think it's more hard work. No, I mean, it's the surgery. And then if a chick goes into the gym and actually squats with a real fucking trainer and does it, you know, ass to grass and really progressively overloads and deadlifts and does her fucking whatever, lunges. Over time, that's how you get those. Have you seen those Brazilian women that look like Godzilla with those massive, giant fucking legs? And they look almost real, right? Because you're like, there's no fat. It looks all real. It's like a giant muscle. Yeah. So that's the combination. That's how that happens. Is you get the woman that has a lot of the surgery, you know, the butt tuck, all that stuff, and then they work out fucking hard, and then you get that look. So, you know. And
then how about these retroactive fake natties we're getting now too? I think the first one that popped up was Chris Bumstead.
Mm-hmm. I don't know. Let me look him up. Tell me. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, CBum, CBUM on Instagram, and he had this Instagram Q&A where they were like, when photo of when you're natty, and it was like him kind of tossing up a football, and the dude,
Jesus, well, he's on an Olympia stage, dude. Like, of course.
Well,
so what did he say?
So he said at 18, this photo of him just kind of like in high school tossing up a football, that he was natty, and the dude is a fucking tank. I mean, he was Michelin Man at 18, and I sent you the post that Artemis Dolgan made of him at, I don't know, 22 or something, and he's doing the side, and he's got just
veins
Adonis
on his
physique,
dick.
everything, and he's like, I wish I stayed natty.
No, he doesn't. No, he doesn't. Yeah, Artemis.
And I'm like, oh my God. So what do you think about that? The people are sort of lying about when they started to make it seem like they were blessed to begin with.
Yeah, and even Greg Doucette does that. Who I love More Plates, More Dates. I fucking can't stand listening to Greg Doucette. Yeah, you know, the fucking voice. It's just like, oh my God. I can't listen to Chris Godfrey for that long. Like, literally, man. Because he also plays it up. Because I've gone to his old videos. Like, I scrolled way the fuck down there when he was still just, you know, like normal phone recording, you know, like you know, in some shitty gym, powerlifting, like with a crazy wide stance so that his range of motion is like, you have to measure it in quarks. You know what I'm saying? Like that's the range of motion. It's just like you can't, like I can't tell, you know. And he sounds normal there. He doesn't have that like. And
then he went full Gilbert Gottfried.
Yeah. Oh, Gilbert Gottfried. What did I say? I fucked that name up, didn't I?
Chris Gottfried. Yeah, Gilbert. But
my bad. Yeah.
Like the parrot from Cyber Chase.
Yeah.
You remember that animated kids show Cyber Chase on PBS? You may not have.
Brother. I wasn't here then. I wasn't all the kids stuff. Like people ask me why I fucking hate Disneyland. I wasn't here for it. I don't give a fuck about it. Like I know who they are. Like I saw Tom and Jerry, but like I'm not excited. Like when I go to Disneyland, I've been there like twice now. I fucking hate it, dude. It's the most annoying thing ever. You're standing in line for an hour and a half to go to this fucking ride that lasts a minute. And it's like, oh my God, look, there's a butterfly. Wow. Like what the fuck, man? I don't get it, dude. And Star Wars too. Star Wars sucks. Let me tell you. Fuck it, I'm sorry, but it sucks. Okay. It sucks. People say you got to watch the originals. I had this thing 2 years ago where I had a buddy that was like, dude, you got to watch the originals. This is the real thing. And I was like, all right, listen, I'm going to fucking let go of everything that I know and I'm going to watch the originals. And I watched the first one. And you're seeing, who's the old guy in that? He's literally 80 years old in that fucking movie. I looked it up later. Obi-Wan, yeah. When Obi-Wan is fighting Darth, you can see the fucking, first of all, you can see the cord hanging out of his rope there to make the lightsaber light. And he is moving like an 80-year-old, and he's like, and it's the worst fucking scene ever. I'm sure at the time when it came out, 1972 or something like that.
76.
76. I'm sure at that time, and I'm not just saying that, I'm sure it was like, oh my God, this is mind blowing. But now it sucks. It doesn't hold up. So I'm sorry if I offended any Star Wars fans, but it sucks. So when I go to the Disney rides at Star Wars Disney rides, I'm just like, I don't get it. You know, like I don't understand.
I'm an hour and a half from Disney World or whatever it is in Orlando, and I don't care.
I went
when
too,
I was
actually.
4.
When I moved from Russia, it's the first thing we went to.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, see, also now that I've learned the origin of all things propaganda,
Well,
I just can't see anything the same way. So I'm just not interested in going. But so Gilbert Gottfried, Greg Doucette. So anyway, you think he's a retroactive fake natty?
Well, he's on TRT, right? Yeah. Oh, you're saying when he posts his like pictures of him when he was like 18 or whatever and super shredded? I mean, listen, again, I've been around a long time. Do I know guys that are I mean, look, I work with this fucking dude, you know. His dad is black, his mom is white. He's got great he's like so fast. He's a climber. He smokes weed daily. He does Molly. He drinks alcohol every weekend, and not drink, he parties hard, like really. I went out with him one time. I fucking thought I was going to die. Okay. So I was like, I can't, I had literally left early. I was like, I can't do this. This is too much for me. Okay. This is years ago, but I still know this guy. But this guy, he'll go to the gym. He'll literally work out once for like 30 minutes a week or twice. And he's got abs. Okay. Yeah. He's got abs. Is he taking steroids? No, I know he's not, because he would tell me, because he's on everything else. You know what I'm saying? So do I know guys? Yeah. Do I know guys that have just fucking, for some odd reason, I don't know if it's genetics. I don't really think it's that simple as just saying genetics, because that doesn't really mean anything to me. But I guess we call that genetics, whatever. Your makeup that's just there for no reason, right? It's just God-given to you. He looks, does he look fucking Olympia stage shredded? No. Does he have abs? Yes. Does he have pecs? Yes. Biceps? Yes. So like, I think there's like a gradient there, you know, because sometimes people will, like you said, like Artemis posting a fucking picture of him just shredded to the fucking teeth. I mean, his fucking teeth have muscles, dude. Like, you know, you're telling me that's natty? And by natty, you're saying, okay, and we're talking about natty, all like everything. No diuretics, no clenbuterol, because, you know, people get, that's again another fucking issue with people like Mike O'Hearn and shit, right? Where they say, I'm natty, I have a prescription, I just have this disease, so I take this prescription drug that's not really a drug, it's just a prescription because my body doesn't do this. Well, what? And they play this mindful fucking game with you. You know, where it's like, again, I really miss Rich Piana, seriously. Like, because in the day he would talk about that. He's like, no, it's not natty, you fucking idiot. You know, like, it's the best. Yeah. Like, we need people like him, because he, you know, because he has the look, and you know he's not full of shit, right? Because you know he's done all the steroids. So like, I missed him. Whew, I went a little ramble there. So anyway, so yeah, do I think he's natty?
I just got a prescription for duck eggs, dude, so you better look out.
Yeah, so, you know, like, is it possible that Greg Doucette was that shredded at 18? I mean, I guess, but like, I don't know. He must have been the most dedicated 18-year-old. I mean, maybe that's why he's short. I don't know. Seriously, though, I don't know. Maybe his family, like, I don't know how, you know, what the genetics are in his family, but seriously, maybe he was dieting so hard. I wrestled when I was younger. So I know some guys that were dieting all the fucking time. They were wrestlers, so that, you know, they would always be dieting. Oh, not eating. They're eating like literally a power bar or whatever, just eating one thing. And yeah, it stunted their growth. Like, I know a lot of those guys that were just constantly trying to stay lean for wrestling. And their parents are not short, but they're like 5'6", you know? Yeah. So,
well, can I get esoteric on you for a minute? Because you said a few things
for sure
that kind of bring in things that I've been trying to process, namely, like, what is genetics, and then what is beauty, and can we speak objectively about beauty in such a way that it's even a useful term to say this person's beautiful or this person's not? I think the left bound of this thought experiment, or of this equation, is sort of what we're seeing with Calvin Klein and the transgenderism and the mania coming out from the left bound of this discussion, of trying to take things that we know on a visceral level are ugly, are not beautiful, and say they're beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
And we know we can demonstrate that because there's a funded corporate agenda to indoctrinate as young as humanly possible what their conception of beauty is. And then on the other side of the spectrum, you might say, I think Michelangelo does a good job of crafting, the male and female figures.
Mm-hmm.
And so to talk about the example of your client, where minimal effort, and yet they have a body that you could say is kind of more toward the right bound
mm-hmm.
of what we would call aesthetic beauty. And I realized that beauty has inertia. So I described it. I'll be very curious if you think this is a useful sentence. Beauty is what happens when a people group makes the longest running set of correct decisions for human well-being.
Mm-hmm.
And because it's generational, there is an inertia. So like you can birth a beautiful, healthy child.
Mm-hmm.
And that child inherits all of your correct decisions about like saturated fat and latitude or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And they can ruin it or they can sustain it. And then they can produce more of it if their orienting reflex is such that they find another person that they've recognized as that beauty.
Yeah. It's a really interesting thought. The latitude thing, I don't know, you said latitude and right away in my mind. I like that Latin look. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
And it is interesting, right? That if you look at like Mrs. Universe and shit, it's all Latinas. Venezuela, Colombia, Brazil, whatever other country. When is the last time that you saw somebody that was like, bro, she's from Antarctica? Or fucking no, okay, let's not go that deep. Canada, northern Canada. She's from, what is that? What's it up there? Winnipeg? Is that one of those up there? Like way the fuck
that
up
sounds
there?
Up there, yeah.
Yeah, she's from Winnipeg.
Miss Winnipeg.
Yeah, right. Like it's not to say that everybody's ugly there. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying like it is interesting that the look that most people are attracted to. There's a lot of overlap, right? A little bit tan. Why do we all like to go vacation? Even if you live in Winnipeg, you go vacation in Florida, you come back, you're like, fuck, I'm tan, I'm fucking hot shit, right? Yeah. Like your hair's golden, right? Like it is interesting that towards that middle latitude area, there's a lot of pretty people there, huh? And it's like a look that people that like I'm Russian, right? So thank God I'm not from fucking like way northern Siberia. I mean, I was born in Kamchatka, which is right by Canada. So
you just made that word up.
Alaska. Sorry. But we go vacation to the Black Sea every fucking summer, and you come back and you fucking, everybody's like, wow, you're glowing. You're golden. Like you rarely meet people that are like, dude, I went vacationing in Iceland. I got no sun. No sun at all. I look great, right? And I ate bread and fucking goat head or whatever else they eat over there, right? It's like I look great. It is interesting, right?
You are correctly touching on the fact that there are ephemeral, esoteric, like platonic forms of beauty that are rooted in physical attributes. So, to bring it back to steroids, when you take testosterone, your skin kind of gets a little bit pink because there's an increased circulation.
Another thing you brought up, when they go on stage, what do they do to their skin?
They tan themselves. So you have things like increased skin pigmentation. You have what you said about the hair too. So this means, all right, so people who get sunlight, something happens to their physiology that we orient toward more than people who have insufficient sunlight.
Yes.
Huh. Well, that's interesting. Really, really, really short people, really, really, really fat people. We don't innately find those things beautiful. How do we know? Well, we've had to put millions of dollars into telling people that obesity is hot. We've had
that's the thing that's going on right now. It's fucking bananas, bro. That's some American shit right there.
And so you have these concepts that you can root in the physical, and that's the stuff that I find like I can't remember. I think I was just talking about this with my girlfriend, not on anyone's podcast, but talking about like women's body fat percentage and how that's sort of been in flux over the years. The old Renaissance paintings of women where they had like dimples on their butt versus now, and all these different things. And I said, well, I don't know what the perfectly correct answer is. I have my own preferences, but I can tell you that we'll say that the left bound is obesity, and the right bound might be a female athlete who is so lean that she loses her period and can't have children.
Very common.
Okay, so we have athletic amenorrhea, and you're going to die of a heart attack any moment. And then we can say that like beauty is somewhere that, as Aristotle would say, the golden mean, somewhere in the middle of these two things. And there are like literal physiologic characteristics that you can attribute to both and how you achieve both. And I think just for me, thinking about it through that lens has made my own journey more practical and kind of rooted me, because since I was 13 and I realized that I didn't have abs, body dysmorphia.
Yes.
Right?
No, Nick, only women are concerned about their looks, and only they can be bullied. Okay, men.
I'm sorry.
No, podcast done.
I didn't.
That's another very, very American pounded into your head thing of like, no, you don't understand. Women are killing themselves because they don't look good, and women's standards are so much higher and so much greater. Another thing that I was taught in college in America here, and I was like, what are you talking about? Yeah, what about all these dudes with six packs on Men's Health? What the fuck are you talking about?
Yeah.
What? Yeah. These guys are taking, girls mostly will, like, again, the average girl that doesn't want to fucking take exogenous hormones and hire a coach, although they all do, a lot of them do that, right? But they'll just starve themselves, right? They'll just starve themselves to get really skinny. And dudes fucking will just take steroids, right? They'll fucking go on the forums and sign up for and get the cheap shit. Like you said, not just order whatever, start taking it, SARMs. So I really don't see, I think it's the same. I think the same levels. I really don't see that it's like women are more patronized or whatever, and I think it's the same. Guys just have as much pressure on them to look like whoever. If
anything, I would even go so far as to say that, like in all other domains, whether it's college application admittance or anything else, it has swung so far in the other direction such that you have the empowerment of the perverted feminine ideal that a woman who just turns 18 and is not physically attractive by any means might actually be exaggerating physical attributes that are in direct opposition to health and well-being, gets an OnlyFans, buys a house, and all of Twitter goes.
Yay! You go, girl. Empowerment, right? Right.
And to be the best version of a man in today's society, it's to be as effeminate as you possibly can be, as obsequious, as neutered.
You're a smart man. You're a smart man. Yeah, because people say that shit, right? Like, oh my God, Instagram is all about guys looking at hot girls, and it's just like, these guys are awful, blah, blah. Listen, Instagram is actually mostly a female energy. That's what it is, right? It's dudes fucking following you because you post a picture of your asshole in a thong every day. That's not guys doing that. You're doing it, and guys are following you. Am I saying, by the way, any of this is wrong? No. Do whatever the fuck you want to do. I'm not like, but I'm just acknowledging reality, right? And then those same guys are going to the gym and posting dumb fucking mirror pictures of their abs. Why? Because they want to attract you, man. That's why. It's not the other way around. Do girls follow hot dudes on Instagram? For sure. Do they like to look at the abs and all? For sure. But let's be real, right? Most girls just need you to be in good shape, and they're good. right? And then the other stuff is important, right? Your personality, blah, blah, blah. Do you get your shit together? How you treat them? All that other good stuff, right? They don't need, I mean, are there some female bodybuilders that need Hulk Hogan? Yeah, like Rich Piana looks, for sure, for sure. But as a girl, it's just like, yeah, man. I mean, yeah, it's mostly a female thing. It's not driven by guys, even though all these kind of, you know, feminist types, or, you know, like I said, social study, communication study professors at fucking UCLA, they like to say it's a guy driven thing, but no, it's actually driven by women.
It's driven by women, and then also for other women, and then
yes,
it's leaving my brain. I don't want it to go too far. Instagram females
driven by women.
It'll come back. Okay. But yeah. Oh yes. In my dysmorphic chase for what I think is the best version of Nick's body, I've realized how unimportant that is to all women. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. That, like, the things that women find attractive about me, it's rarely actually the body that keeps them around for longer than, like, the first few moments of conversation. Mm-hmm. And realizing that and finding a truly feminine woman who appreciates just actual masculine traits beyond height, shoulder breadth, anything like that, I started to realize more and more, like, what makes a man attractive is about 58 other things beyond his body fat percentage. And that's something that you have to go to a completely different niche of Instagram to find that sort of.
So what you're saying, Nick, is I should be fat and you should be fat, right? That's it, right,
yes.
Nick? Right?
Yes.
For those people that, like, but, you know, yes. No, you're not saying that, Nick. No. Are you saying that you should keep yourself in shape and chin check yourself every once in a while? Like, hey, buddy, let's get to the gym, motherfucker. Yes, you should. Yes, you should. But it is interesting. It is interesting that whenever you see those fat Italian dudes on boats that have the 20-year-old chicks, and, you know, the dudes are, like, always wearing a Speedo and everything, right? Yeah. You know, they're fat, out of shape, old.
Right.
I mean, their balls, they could probably wrap it around their gooch to the other side. You know what I'm saying? Like, they're so stretched out.
Yeah.
It is funny that you don't see it the other way around a lot. No. Are there instances? Yes. That one billionaire Spanish lady that had that, like, 30-year-old model boyfriend. I can't remember her name, but I think you might have known what I'm talking about. She might have passed away recently too. Rest in peace. Rest in peace. It is interesting, right, that you don't see it that often the other way around. Am I saying something wrong about it? Am I saying, like, girls are hoes or what? No, I'm just saying it is interesting, and it's the reality of life, right? Like, I fully support those old dudes having 20-year-old chicks. Seriously. Do whatever the fuck you want to do. I don't think... Whatever you want to do. I'm all for people doing whatever they want to do, honestly. I can't say, I don't think life is so simple as, like, do that, don't do that. You should, you know, at that age, you should be married and have kids. And I don't know. If I think that's also a great thing? Yes. But, you know, I just find it interesting that you don't see it the other way around with women, old women having, you know, 25-year-old male model, Calvin Klein models, like you said.
Yeah. Well, I think... Should I say a bunch of objective truths that make people uncomfortable, or should I just let that be?
Yeah, fuck it. It's my podcast. Just go for it. Don't even ask anymore.
Well, I think it is the case that in the instance of the billionaire playboy with the 20-year-olds, it's the slightly perverted version of the ideal man who can infinitely provide and therefore gets to pick the top of the top. And most women are not the provider by nature of being the nurturer and the bearer and creator of life.
Goddamn sexist.
Goddamn sexist. So it makes sense to me that we, for every 10,000 Hugh Hefners, you get, like, one billionaire woman with a 30-year-old guy.
Yeah. Does it happen? Yeah, for sure. For sure. I know, what's that actor from Kick-Ass? Remember that fucking guy? You know that guy from Kick-Ass? And he was,
Nick Cage.
No. No, I love Nick Cage,
Not
though.
Chloe Grace
The young kid that plays the actual kick-ass guy. Whatever the fuck that kid's name is. We can look it up in a second. Somebody's probably screaming like, you fucking asshole. He's also done Anna Karenina. You know that guy? What's his name? I'm going to look it up here in a second.
I don't know why I'm thinking Michael Cera, and I know it's not Michael Cera.
No. Aaron Taylor Johnson.
Oh,
Johnson.
Yeah.
Have you ever seen his wife? She's about 25 or 30 years older than him.
No way.
Yeah, and he's a young, handsome motherfucker, isn't he?
Mm-hmm,
I mean, I'd fuck that guy, no homo. But she's 54, okay, and I think he just turned 31, okay.
Okay.
And so it does happen. Does it happen that and like, I hope she doesn't listen to this podcast. Neither does he. But like, she's not the sexiest baby in town. You know what I'm saying? That's all. Sure. I'm not gonna say anything terrible. She's not like ugly. I would never be like, oh my god. But do I think that handsome, young, studded, he's a good actor too, by the way. I think he's solid. I'm a fan. He's 5'11", so he's not like 5'5", So
watch it.
So does it happen? Yes, for sure. But it is interesting. It is interesting that it happens the other way around a lot more. And I wanted to talk about this because you were talking about, you said something about culture, I think, or maybe I just thought of it. But I will tell you though, this hot topic. It's a hot button topic and it's a taboo topic, but it's really a taboo topic mostly in America. Really, everywhere else you go,
yeah,
people don't really. Everybody kind of just go. It's like if you were to say this, like, oh, there's this Italian guy, this millionaire guy with a boat, okay? With a boat. He's fat, he's bald, and he has like $1 million in the bank. But he's so ugly, but he has this girl, and she's like 22 years old. Can you fucking believe that? Everywhere else in the world.
Every other country in the planet is racist, homophobic, misogynistic. Everywhere else,
everybody just kind of goes,
seconds.
What? Like, duh. Like, they literally would be like, duh. It's like, It's like if you looked at them and you're like, water is wet. They'd be like, what? What are you talking about, man? like, you know what I mean? So, because you see that a lot in Russia too. You see a lot of those guys that are. Russia's a unique country. There's a few countries out there like that. Russia, Thailand is like that, where girls are extremely beautiful. Can be. Of course, there's, okay, whatever. We're being as racist and as stereotypical as possible here, okay? So girls are really beautiful, but guys a lot of times are just fucking, those just masculine dudes, but they're like ugly. You know what I'm saying? It's very common. So it's very common. You have this, kind of Russian dude with a beautiful hot wife, and you're just like, oh my God, and that happens. But in America, still though, because of this, and I don't know how it got started. I guess it's because, the history of America and, all these, I don't know, maybe it's free speech. I don't think like all things in life, I don't think you can pinpoint it to one thing, but there's definitely been that push, right? Of like, feminism and all that kind of stuff. But so we're to the point of where if you're in America and you see that, you're kind of like, what? Right? Like, you're kind of like, oh my God, I can't believe that young, beautiful woman would go with this ugly guy. And I mean, there's a lot of hot dudes in America. So I think there's a lot more than in Russia currently.
So I was talking with a Norwegian, Danish, one of the two, somewhere over there. And this is a couple of years ago. And I asked him, what do you guys do? I started from like the economic route because I knew about 70% of their life was subsidized by the government. And I was just curious. So like, what does your day-to-day life look like? Because obviously you're not worried about food. You're not worried about rent. You're not worried about healthcare. Mm-hmm. So those three main things are what drive Americans to try and produce as much wealth as they can to take care of that and then go have fun. What do you do for fun? Mm-hmm. And he said, I hang out with my family. And there was a hobby that we both do. And he's like, so I do this hobby. And, sometimes I go to the market and like get some food and stuff. And I said, but like, what is greatness to you? Like, what is peak
Yeah.
Just, you did it, whatever that is. And he was like, he just didn't have a concept of that.
Yeah.
And I had nowhere to put what he said in my brain. There was no space on my motherboard where that fit in. And I'm so caught between that European idea of the man is an end in and of himself to be and to live. Mm-hmm. And then what has been dialed up to 11 in America, which is you are exactly as worthy of existence as how beautiful and successful you are.
Dude, it's fucking, you just hit the nail on the head, I think, my friend. And you brought up the socioeconomic kind of thing. Well, is it Denmark you said?
Yeah, we'll go with that.
Okay. I made a lot of friends in Switzerland while I was in college, and I've been there, I don't know, 5 to 10 times, somewhere there. I've been there a lot. And I don't think we have any Swiss listeners, and I'm sorry if we do. But every time I've been there, I could not find a girl that I was like, wow, she's hot. Like, okay, I'm sorry, guys. By the way, fucking fantastic country. Yeah. The chocolate factory. You go to that Cahiers chocolate factory. It's fantastic.
Look, guys, your chocolate, outstanding, but I'd never reproduce with you.
Cheese, outstanding. Transportation, although be it fucking expensive, it's like 60 francs just to get from one side to another side using the train, which is like, and by the way, francs are like, 1 franc is $1 million. You know, it's just like, what? That's a conversion rate. I'm serious. So if you go to Switzerland, bring a lot of dollars. Okay, I'm just highly recommend it. Outstanding. Mountains, nature, grass-fed beef, which you can just drive through anywhere in the country and just you see grasses, cows feeding on grasses. Outstanding. Women, not outstanding. I'm sorry. I don't know what it is. And I had other friends visit it and they tell me the same thing. I don't know. And that thing that you brought up about that drive, because if you don't know, Switzerland is a fucking fantastic country. Like, if you work there as a 16-year-old in a coffee shop, you get paid, like, I don't know, equivalent to in America, you get paid like $30 an hour. You know, they make a lot of money. Yeah. They make a lot of money. All of them go traveling abroad when they're 18. And it's funny enough to shittier countries because they want to go and experience, you know, bullshit, which is so funny how life is, right? You always want to like know the opposite, and you think there's some sort of something inherently awesome.
Dude, let's go to Uruguay.
That's what they do. Madagascar is a common destination. I'm not kidding, dude. So yeah, it's a fascinating thing because, like you said, because maybe that drive of like, you got to get the Lamborghini. You got to be Hulk Hogan, brother. You got to wake up. You got to take your vitamins, your steroids, and you got to look good. Otherwise, chicks aren't going to fuck you. Maybe, I think there's definitely something to that, man. It's really, really fascinating you brought that up.
Have you ever read Ayn Rand as a Russian?
I read what?
Ayn Rand.
Ayn Rand? What's that?
A-Y-N, Rand.
No, what is that? As a Russian.
Like Atlas Shrugged. She's an author. Atlas Shrugged, no. The Fountainhead.
She must be
Anthem.
Not like old, right? Kind of recent.
50s.
50s?
1950s.
How do you? What's that's the name of the writer? I mean,
yeah.
Dostoevsky talked to me. Tolstoy talked to me. I don't know. Maybe he never got around there. How do you spell it?
R-A-N-D. Ayn Rand. A-Y-N R-A-N-D.
R-I-N-D?
R-A.
R-A.
Yeah.
N-D. And what's the first name?
Ayn, A-Y-N.
A-Y-N.
And it's a pseudonym for something longer and more Russian.
Well, she's first of all Jewish, so I don't know, my friend.
No, I'm just saying. Not me.
No, I just mean in the sense of that, you know, maybe I don't know, maybe it became. So she's the writer of Atlas Shrugged.
Yes.
Oh, I mean, I've seen that fucking shitty Forrest Gump. What's the actor? Remind me of that actor's name.
Tom Hanks.
Tom Hanks. Atlas Shrugged. Is that the one? Was he in there?
Was he in? I don't think so.
Maybe I'm fucking up. See, I'm going all over the place here. No, I just meant in the sense that things that were written by Jews back then were suppressed for sure. So like, I don't know. I guess honestly, dude, I can tell you for sure, Atlas Shrugged is a much bigger hit in America than it is in Russia. for sure.
Oh yeah, well, no question. So she moved from Russia to New York.
Ah, well that okay.
Wrote a
So
bunch.
it wasn't written in Russian. Okay,
Correct.
that's where I was like, what? I had no idea. Okay, so maybe she came here what, like as a kid? I'm guessing. No, brother, never read it. Never. I've seen, I think, the movie, but I don't know much about it. Well, tell me, man.
So that's been a big impact on my life over the last, I'd say, 3 years, and she is up next to like Milton Friedman and that mindset of like Rothbardian libertarianism of if man was just free to without any sort of government involvement, he would rise to new heights because of free trade capitalism and stuff like that. But she really pulls a lot from Aristotle and his metaphysics and understanding. And on the subject of European self-actualization versus American self-actualization, I think she's done the best job I've found so far of what it means to be a fulfilled person in a supposedly free capitalistic society. And the reason I just brought it up is because I haven't yet found somebody who's articulated what I wish we had in America, as well as she has in specifically Atlas Shrugged, of pursuing aesthetic beauty and financial success, and then how she relates that to like what it means to be a person with a mind that can produce, that can orient toward beauty and well-being and all these things. So just given that you're a Russian, I just did the like, you're Asian, that's Asian, so therefore you must know
Gonna put it on a
thing.
list. No, I mean, I probably should, you know, like I said, classic Russian novels that, you know, you read in school, you know, as a kid. I read them all. But no, like I said, I think it was just because obviously she wrote it when she was here, right? After she migrated and everything, I'm assuming. So yeah, probably that's why I don't even know what it would translate to in Russian. But yeah, I'll put it on the list, my man. But that is an interesting thing, right? I mean, I'll tell you, you know, look, Russia, all those years of communism, right? My mom told me this the other day. Shout out to Mama, if she's listening. You know, she said, yeah, you know, Russian women, we've been through that kind of thing of, I'm a woman, I want to be equal to man. What the fuck? We need to be even. We're gonna, you know, you do this, so I'm gonna do the same thing. We've been through that through communism. That shit ended. We wanna like enjoy life now and get taken out and wear high heels and ride in Audis. And that's why that stereotypical culture now, right? The stereotypical is like the Russian woman that comes over and, you know, takes your money and marries the American guy. But that's why that exists, because we've had that other shit that America's currently going through. Is it, you know, the same? No, there's, you know, there's of course degrees and stuff, you know, but Russia's been there, done that, you know, and America is right now is probably the other way, right? It was like get taken out, be the Playboy model, be whatever. And now it's kind of going through this period of like, okay, we want to be equal to man, blah, blah, blah. So, you know, everybody else is sexist. And feminism.
The Bolshevik Revolution and the Communist Bolshevik Revolution in Russia, I would propose, is being enacted on the United States by the same individuals. There is a Communist Bolshevik Revolution in the United States happening at the same time. And what's so incredible about Atlas Shrugged is she takes the aesthetic question of communism, right? Like how can a theoretically economic system affect music, affect movies, and like your physical shape? Like why is how come I can look at somebody and know their political views?
It's very interesting.
But seriously, how come I can do that? Not always, not 100% of the time, but why is it the case that there's articles coming out saying that if you lift weights, you're a neo-Nazi fascist?
Or you tend to be Republican, right?
Or you tend to be Republican. If you eat red meat, this is like a crisis of whiteness. It's so fascinating that I do feel like I am tap dancing over laser beams a little bit. I just think it's fascinating that you can take philosophical, esoteric ideas about the moral questions, and it comes out in how big your muscles are and what food you put on your plate.
Mm-hmm.
And your hormone levels. Like even the anterior pelvic tilt.
Well, just everything aesthetically, right? If you live in a suburban neighborhood and your house looks like this and you have this type of car, you're probably a Republican. Or if you live in fucking Los Angeles and you have a small apartment and you have like a shitty Chihuahua dog that barks at everybody, you're probably voted for Hillary Clinton, right? Like those are true. Those are, like you said, yeah, there's a lot of truths to that.
And then you can kind of take it also into the Instagram, OnlyFans, female aesthetic, the left and right bounds that I talked about, like how far you're willing to let your body go, or even promote certain phenotypes of obesity or the color of your hair or hygiene, any of these different things. Mm-hmm. And then how that relates to what I would argue is the essence of femininity, which is the ability to bear healthy children, to produce more life because, hey, you're a woman and you're the only one who could do that. Mm-hmm. And so you have, and the reason I brought up the anterior pelvic tilt thing is the most recent study I saw about that is that people high in estrogen have a greater degree of anterior pelvic tilt. Mm-hmm. So it's like, oh, wait a second, your hormones affect your literal posture, and I can see that when I look at you.
Sure. It's true. Yeah, being a trainer, working with people physically, you start seeing a lot of patterns. Yeah, like, oh, I can kind of tell you've been vegan for the last 5 years, or vice versa, right? Or whatever, you eat, too much, or you eat too little. It's
so
true.
I got to ask you, it's when someone walks in your place of business, mm-hmm. Have you ever just been like, man, this motherfucker drinks oat milk?
Yes. I can usually figure that out within the first 5 minutes of talking to them, my brother. So, common giveaway. Like, one time I went to a coffee shop and this is before I had like an espresso machine, and I asked for just a shot of espresso, and they gave me a little shot of espresso in a little paper cup. Mm. And I was just sipping my espresso, and somebody walked in, and she started talking to me. This woman started talking to me. She goes, she looks at my espresso cup. She's like, oh my God, espresso cup. If there's not enough waste of regular cups, now we need to make more wasteful cups. And I'm just like, you know what I'm saying? Like, and that's an oat milk drinker right there. Boom, in my mind. Just, all right. These sort of people that try to save the world, by saying something stupid like that, like plastic straws, right? There's a law in LA now, like you have to ask for a paper straw, a plastic straw. And it's so fucking annoying because you go to a spot and they give you this paper straws and you start sipping in it, and then you start sipping paper and you're like, this is so good, because the fucking paper straws fall apart.
Yeah. But whenever I have the misfortune of being on a work trip to the shithole country that you live in.
Hey, come on, it's not all bad.
Yeah. Well, circling all the way back with the idea of like endocrine disrupting chemicals, why do you think it is that maybe they were all just lying, but why do you think it is that golden age bodybuilders did require infinitely less steroids to achieve what we now orient ourselves toward?
Yeah, that's a good thing to talk about. First of all, the biggest thing, I think, like all things, again, it's not just one thing. The biggest thing, though, I think, well, I know from, by the way, I work out at Gold's Venice over here, which is not the OG gym where Arnold and the boys trained. That just became a house now, but they left the sign of Gold's Gym in the back. It's still on there. You can drive by it. But they moved that location eventually down the street, kind of. It's on off of Main Street in Santa Monica, and it's technically Venice. So anyway, so I'm around these sort of guys, and I'm around some of the OGs that have been there for a while. Rick Drayson, used to be there, passed away, rest in peace. I'm supposed to have him on a podcast, but didn't, just died, literally. We were talking, and then he was like, all right, I'll let you know, and fucking died. It's kind of sad.
Did you take the vaccine?
No. This is like, not pre-pandemic, like early, I think, right when things were just like trying to get figured out. At least I don't think so, so I don't know. But he was sort of falling apart for a while there, So anyway, you were asking me about why? Well, so like I said, first of all, talking to all these guys and seeing some of their interviews, and it's one thing to read shit, by the way, another thing to like see people say that stuff, because you can fucking Google Arnold Schwarzenegger workout and like whatever you see written there, it's all bullshit, man. It's all bullshit. It's bullshit. You don't know. I have his fucking, like his encyclopedia here. Like, I have this stuff. I mean, this is more accurate, probably more accurate to, what he would really say. But even this, it's, you don't really fucking know. And, all this stuff you see written, it's, because by the way, I'm a victim of that too, where you type in favorite bodybuilder and Google workout routine. You see some article by some asshole that he used to do 4 sets of 10. He used to do this and that, and you don't know. Anyway, I'm going on a tangent here. So I think the biggest thing is that steroids were real. I think they were taking real shit made by the pharmacy. There were no Mexican bathtub steroids. There were nobody was making that shit. Now you had to go to an actual doctor, like a real doctor. There was a few guys in town that everybody knew. Some of them are still around, by the way, that, you used to get the prescription for. It was like, this is the guy, go to him. And he would just prescribe it to professional bodybuilders, like pros, like real pros, like Arnie and whatever, Danny Padilla, any of these, fucking the Black Panther, Jesus, his name is slipping, Robbie Robinson. So they were taking real shit. And you know how much Dianabol they were taking?
10 milligrams.
2 to 5 milligrams. 2 to 5 milligrams. You take it and they would blow up. They blow up. I talked to Rick about this. They'd fucking blow up, bro. You take 5 milligrams. If you've never done a cycle before, you take 2 to 5. I don't remember if a pill had 2 or 5, but I just remember him saying 2 to 5. So maybe take 2. And we all know, by the way, because with steroids, it's a slippery slope. You're going to go, you're never going to take the dosage. But he said, you would just take 2 to 5 milligrams and you fucking blow up. You go into the gym, you get pumped, your fucking arms explode. Okay, you just get swollen. Now, like you said, 10 milligrams, not even, you take pills that are 100 milligrams and nothing happens for 6 weeks, right? So I think that's the biggest.
Wow. I'm so glad I asked, because that's not what I would have thought the answer was.
Well, yeah, that's, like I said, it's never one thing, but I do know that that's a fact, and that's from talking to a bunch of guys that were actually there, that actually are honest about it, that it was a real deal, like I said. And also, if you think about it logically, like I said, there was no fucking, like you said, Mexican pharmacies online selling this shit. It was just real stuff. And, there's a whole fascinating history of steroids too, by the way, because they were kind of used for soldiers and burn victims. To this day, children that get burned, like have severe burns, and because that would cause them to have deformities as they're growing, as they're fucking, growing up, they're prescribed Anavar, by the way, because that one specifically has the least amount of side effects and stuff, right? It's not as androgenic, it's not as toxic to the liver. So anyway, so these things were like real things, that were prescribed for people for real things, for real stuff, besides just gaining muscle, right? HIV patients, all that kind of stuff. But HIV patients, that's like 70s, right? Even before that. So it's a really long history. So I think that's the biggest thing. The second thing is, they were training hard, dude. They were fucking training hard. Yeah. They were really training. There's not a lot of videos still left around of those times, but you can find them on YouTube. These motherfuckers, you do a set, then I do a set. As soon as I'm done, you're doing the set. There was no Beats by Dre headphones, right? There was no Twitter
that you check in between sets.
There was no BCAA drinks. They had like a shitty water fountain in the corner, right? Seriously, right?
Yeah.
So they would all, it was just like set after set. I mean, their workouts were probably, I don't know, 2 hours, maybe not that long. I'm sure some of them trained longer. I'm sure, like, Arnold is known to do a lot of volume. Again, from things that I hear from dudes that were actually there working out with him. So he would train longer. But if you look at some of those guys talking about it or videos or read about it, a lot of them would like go in the gym in the morning, go in the gym in the afternoon. Why did they do that? Because they realize that, like, because if you think about it, why wouldn't they just do the whole thing in one go, right? And then go home and rest for the rest of the day? Well, because they realize like maybe around hour and a half, 2 hours, your tank starts running low, right?
Yeah.
You can talk about the testosterone drop. You can talk about the estrogen increase. You can talk about your heart, blood pressure going, whatever. Point is, they're running out of fuel, right? Their gas tank is going low. So they'd go home or go to the beach oftentimes. It's a common thing that they say, at least guys in the golden era out here. And refuel, chill, eat some food, take a nap, and go back and train again. So you know, and like I said, and then when they would go back to training, they'd be training really fucking hard. Whereas
so
now, dude, yeah.
Another question about the training specifically, because I watch these videos of them doing like minimum 12 reps with like 405 squats. And Arnold's just like, you bitch, like do another.
Yeah, that seems like, from Pumping Iron. That's Arnold and Ed Corney.
Yeah,
Arnold and Ed
So,
Corney.
but in general, I mean, I've watched a lot of Dorian Yates training, and I mean, these people are they're animals. But I personally have been experiencing what I would consider sort of a chronic fatigue for the better part of a decade, where I go to the gym and the idea of doing more than like a 5x5 on squats and then not feeling like I'm ready to just be comatose is so rare. And do you think that just the general like hypothyroidism, shit in our water, growing up on ranch dressing, 5G is making us like less able to output kilojoules of energy in the gym than this golden age?
So again, like all things, I say that same thing again. It's not just one thing. Do I think that stuff, you know, gives you less, you know, fucking just, you know, life energy in general? Yes, you know. But I'll also say this, dude. Like, think about living in California in 1970. You had one car. You paid insurance for it. What is it, like fucking $25 a year back then or something like that? Okay, seriously.
Yeah.
Cost of living was, I don't know, whatever, fucking $250 a month. Okay. Yeah. And that's not even expensive by LA. I mean, that was expensive by LA standards, but not comparative to now. Now, you know, if I tell you like people pay $2,000 for a studio apartment, you'd be like, what? You know what I'm saying? And back then it was like, it's a little more expensive in the cities. It wasn't like oh my God. You probably, most guys were married by then, right? Stable life. You live in California. There's sun every day. You go to work, you come home, 9 to 5, done. 5 days a week, done. You don't have fucking, you also got to pay this insurance and that insurance, and you got to make sure that you're not going to get fired, and you got to do the fucking sexist and racist training for work. And you know what I'm saying? And you got to go. So I think like just in general, life is just becoming more complicated, right? Like, wouldn't you agree that, you know, like sometimes you talk to like your grandparents and you're like, what'd you guys do? And like you said, it's just like, wake up, go to work, come home. Like, what do you mean? Like, it was, I was like,
a person. I breathed, and that was sufficient.
Yeah. So I think like, just in general, fucking life is a lot more complicated. So I think that, dude, I mean, if you live in a city like I do, I talk to people, you know, some people are fucking working 10-hour, 12-hour shifts. Yeah. And then they got to drive in traffic, right? They got to drive in traffic home. It's 40-minute traffic. Some asshole cut you off and honks at you and fucking yells at you, and you might get into a fight. And then you got to check your Instagram. You got to check your Twitter because people are contacting you. And then you get home and your boss writes you another fucking email. And then Trump is going to get reelected. Oh my God, Trump might get it. You know what I'm saying? So there's just like nonstop of like, dun, 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 the fucking Led Zeppelin, right? Dun, 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 right? Just 20. And then you go to the gym and work out. You know what I'm saying? So by the time you get to the fucking gym, your life energy is so spent. Right? And also you're trying to have a life. You know what I'm saying? Like, right? Like you're saying you want to go to the gym because you want to take care of yourself and look good and be able to hang out with your girlfriend and feel cool. Right? Like, and that's the good stuff. That's the stuff that like you should be doing. But even doing that, it still takes your life energy, right? Whatever, chi or whatever. You know, I'm just saying like in general, you know, like, so if you're thinking of yourself as a car, which you probably shouldn't, but I'm just saying, you know, your tank is fucking going down, and it's going down fast. And it's going down fast. And then, I can't sleep at night. Oh, fucking great. Well, what you got to do tomorrow morning? Oh, I got to go to work at 7 a.m. All right. Right? And then you got to take fucking Adderall because you can't focus because you're so tired. But you got to go to the gym, because if you don't go to a gym, you're a fucking fat asshole.
Yeah.
So what do you do?
You're not worthy of being looked at.
Yeah. So I mean, like, I feel it for those people that, dude, and that's not like a small, that's like a big percentage. That's a big percentage of people in the United States and other countries that are becoming more like US.
Yet another thing that I never would have considered.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, you know,
it was
and then
hearing my dad. My dad grew up in the like 80s, and his childhood is a lot more of like what Arnold described. Now, obviously, Arnold's a bit older than my dad, but there was I think a biography that Arnold wrote, and I was seeing a few snippets from what he was saying, how they would go out camping and like bring wine and food and a bunch of girls and have campfires and lift weights and then drink wine and then try and lift weights after they drank wine and then have an orgy and then like swim and I'm like, how do you pay for things, right? Like, that's the first thing that goes through my brain is like, how do you fund this?
Yeah, but you could back then. That's the thing. You could, and it was normal. It was not weird. Now it's a weird thing, right?
I have like a 900 square foot duplex and I'm paying $11.50 a month, and if I don't orient my life toward generating cash
24/7. Yeah, 24/7, bro. Yeah, man.
So it's great. Of course, I don't want to go squat 405 for 13 reps.
Yeah, why the fuck would you? Yeah. Now, could you? Yeah. And do people do it? Yeah. I mean, on a practical aspect now, like, look, I have a client, you know, movie editor. There we go. Right. So, you know, you're in the movies. I'm just saying, just thought of him. Movie editor. Has worked on a lot of real things that people have seen. You probably have seen too. So he's working, you know, the director sits behind him, does cocaine and Red Bull for 10 hours straight. I'm not kidding. This is real story, real thing. Yeah. And he sits in front of a blue lit fucking computer with his eyeballs this close to it for 10 hours. Okay. And he's got to edit this shit. And this director, every fucking 2 seconds. Oh, no. Hold on. Put that in front of this one. Oh, no, never mind. Put it back. You know what? Never mind. It was the first. Fuck! You know what I'm saying? All day. Okay? You know what I mean? Can you imagine that? Yeah. And then he is like, all right, dude, we're training Monday, Wednesday, Friday, 3 days a week. Hey, I'll see you for a workout in an hour. Okay, comes in. Hey, buddy, how you doing? I'm all right. I just got off work an hour ago. I've been at it since 9. It's 9 p.m. now. We train at 9:30. Okay. And this is Monday. What'd you do last night? Oh, went out with my girlfriend because she doesn't like to. She gets crazy at home. We need to go out. We need to party. Right? Chicks love doing stuff. I get it. Like is there something wrong with his girlfriend? No. Chicks like doing stuff. So he went out to a morning what do you call it? A pool party in the morning, and then they went out at night. And then they went dancing, and then he slept for 4 hours. But director's there the next day, so he's working all fucking day. Day's over. We planned a workout. What's he gonna do? Not show up? He's a good guy, really good guy. I love this guy, and he has good intentions, right? He's like, I gotta show up. I mean, what am I gonna do? Just let myself get out of shape? And he's right. Like, why? Mm-hmm. But that's the schedule. So you know, like, what do I do practically with a person like that? I because so many times. I would just go, you know, if there's a possibility to reschedule, I just reschedule with people right away. Back in my old young and like fucking days, I would just fucking, no, motherfucker, suck it up. And I found over time that just digs people deeper into the hole. Yes, the workouts become shittier. They start feeling shittier. And eventually, as a trainer, they probably stop hitting you up. And it's not realizing, not because it's your fault, because you are doing your job, right? Your job as a trainer is to murder people. Well, I mean, that's what a lot of people think. I mean, that's another thing we can talk about too. But, you know, a lot of trainers just murder people. And a lot of people want to get murdered. You know why? Because they can't sleep. Because they're so... I'm sorry I keep doing that. But
it's hilarious.
All day. All day. And so when they get home and they haven't got murdered at a 24-hour fitness by a trainer, they need to fucking get murdered. They can't sleep, dude. Yeah. They can't sleep and they can't relax. But then if they go to a class, do an hour workout, and the trainer is like, yeah, motherfucker, 10 more push-ups or you're gonna die. Right? Or Soul Cycle. That's another popular Soul Cycle, right? Why do people love that? Yeah, they say it's like, oh, because you're doing it. No, just because they're getting murdered and you have a dude yelling at you and there's no way out, Nick. You're on this bike now, motherfucker. And I'm right in your face. I'm right here. Yeah, let's go. Let's fucking go, right? So that's what they...
With the microphone just like
with
this in the face.
Yeah, and they get off the bike sometimes and they walk up to you like, huh, what's going on? Or you know, or at least like, well, okay, oh, you're tired today? Okay, just don't stop. Don't stop. And then you have this trick in your mind, right? Like, well, fuck, dude, I'm worn out and I have like, I'm at 0. But like, what am I going to do? Like be a fucking piece of shit and not work out today? No. Because people, you know, have the good intention in mind of like, I'm going to keep myself in shape. I don't want to get out of shape because I'm working like a slave every day and I'm fucking tired. So I'm going to keep myself at it and eventually this will end, and it never ends. And all over time, those people are just like, so what do I do with those people is I just, if I can reschedule, I'm like, no, tomorrow. Okay, the next day, whatever. And if not, 30-minute workout. Hard, you know, not again, because I know this is not going to be hard as good as you can be, you know, because I also will like, I'll see them on a different day when they haven't had a day like that and they're like 3 times better, right? It's just, you know, so common. You know, I see a client, another one, he's a lawyer, he's had calls nonstop, all fucking day, nonstop, bum, 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 bum. I show up, let's do 10 push-ups. He can do 8. On a good day, he does 25.
Yeah.
Okay. So, you know, those things really affect you. So if you're one of those people, you know, that has a schedule like that, I just recommend fucking 30 minutes, get moving and just get it over with quick. Versus like the 1 hour, like fucking also like powerlifters, like wrap your elbows around and put your belt on and put the chalk on. It's like, oh my God. And then do the hardest thing possible. Strength training.
Lift literally the heaviest thing you could possibly pick up.
Yeah, it's all strength training. You know, these labels are dumb anyway, but I'm saying like the typical strength training of what we think of, like 5 reps or lower, right? 1 to 5. Yeah, let's max out on deadlift after that fucking day. Good idea. No, like don't do that. Get some volume in, get some basic stuff in. Push-ups, pull-ups, squats, never hurt you. Some sit-ups, repeat it 5 rounds. Go as fast as you fucking can. 30 minutes, get the fuck out, go sleep. That's it.
Well, isn't it fascinating that so everything that you just said, first of all, hadn't thought of before, which I love that. The bringing in some like Ray and then some Arnold and then modern day Soul Cycle culture. I think it's fascinating that a beautiful body was achievable in an era when the cost of living and the effort to live was minimal. It was achievable. It wasn't overwhelming. But now we are essentially doing like strength training just to stay alive. And like our bodies are reacting physiologically with like the same catecholamines as if we just trained with Arnold Schwarzenegger and all we did was stare at a blue screen and hate ourselves for 8 hours. Mm-hmm. And then on top of that, because we watched our body deteriorate week after week, we think, all right, I'm going to solve this. I'm going to eat some green leaf in my dinner and I'm going to go increase the lactate content of all of my muscles as high as I possibly can. I'm just going to make sure that my TSH goes through the roof. And it's all because like we are in this. Do you follow Soul Bra on Instagram?
I've heard of him. I don't follow him, but I've heard of him. Mm-hmm.
Something that I've really appreciated, and I have no idea. Again, I hate that this is the question that comes to my brain: is how does this dude make money? Like the fact that that's the first thing in my mind. But something that characterized the golden age of bodybuilding is like light touch, 2 milligrams of dianabol, right? Work this job and now I paid my bills. It was just a little light touch and you solved your problems, right? And so the difference between the mild-mannered guy with a job and a wife and kids and then like an Arnold Schwarzenegger was time in the gym, not 5,000 other characteristic differences.
Yes. You can see this point in things like equipment. I was just explaining to somebody to this. Our whatever culture, whatever the fuck it is, our current minds, not current, just our minds in general. This has always been the truth, I think. In our mind, if you go into a gym and it has a lot of advanced, fancy, complex, complicated, unique machines, and even barbells, because now they make dumbbells that their heads spin like Watson, what I'm talking about. Oh yeah, all kinds of stuff, right? You would think that you would get a better workout and a better result and a better you would accomplish more because you have all this complexity around you. But the funny thing is that the dudes that are real fucking savages, right? If you're a wrestler or a boxer or an MMA fighter, the scariest dude is that Cuban guy from the fucking from rural Cuba, from the shithole town in Cuba, and all they had there was like a pull-up bar, a dip bar, and a bench press.
Yeah,
that's it.
Yeah.
And those guys, you see those guys, and you're like, what were you doing? And that's all they were doing. They were just doing those basic things. So in our minds, it's like more complexity equals more advanced, results.
Yeah.
But actually, simplicity drives more advanced results, or
yes,
simplicity makes you want to get a little more complex with stuff. And I think that's kind of the cycle that goes, you have basics, then some dudes do it and they master it, and then they're like, well, got to take it somewhere new. So they take it somewhere new. But then other guys see that and they're like, this is fucking stupid. Let's go back to the basics. And then it just keeps going on and on and on.
Yep.
Because like I said,
forever.
in Russia, again, old school Soviet Russia, that's all people had. Dip bars, pull-up bars, a couple of kettlebells. But it developed savages because people got creative with the basics. They first mastered the basics, and then they got creative with the basics. An example would be like, you start with doing push-ups, and then you can do push-ups because you have your feet on the ground. What if we have our feet off the ground? Oh, parallel bars. Okay, let's do parallel bars. So you do parallel bars. So now your whole body weight, you're doing, right? It's a push-up with your feet off the ground, right? Basically, if you think about it, right? Then after that, you're like, well, fucking, I can do 3 sets of 20 now. That's pretty easy. And I'm going all the way down, by the way. I'm not doing these like the machine that mimics the dip bar. You know what I'm talking about? The worst, stupidest fucking piece of shit ever, right? Because again, it puts you in this weird position which you would never be. Yep. And the range of motion, again, got to be measured in quarks, right? So again, so it's like stupid thing. No, all the way down. And then then you master that. Then you put some weight around your waist. Yeah. And by the way, this is golden era stuff that I'm talking about. I mean, I can pull up some pictures if you want, but they're in there, right? Dudes doing dips with 245 plates around their waist. Okay, then we got to take it somewhere, and if you're not a bodybuilder, this is bodybuilder, but if you're not a bodybuilder, you do that, then you're like, well, what else can I do with my hands on the bar? Oh, I can, put my what if I put my legs over my head? Oh, those are handstand push-ups. Oh, fuck, this is hard. You do those. You master those. What if I, instead of having them above my head, now I have them parallel? Oh, that's a parallel. That's a planche, right? So see what I'm saying? Like this simple fucking piece of equipment has driven this unique and complex stuff. But vice versa never works, man. You have this like super nice dumbbell, super nice barbell, and at the end of the day, the stuff that really works is just a basic squat. Like it's not that fucking squat when you sit down and then the pins fall off. They call it a it's not the chains around. It's just a basic fucking squat. So so that's the stuff that people should stick with most of the time.
I have a couple more questions for you. First of all, why the hell do you run?
Well, because again, man,
who do you think you are?
Hey, man. I mean, again, brother. You go to the gym, right? I know people that drive to the gym to walk on the treadmill, right?
Yeah.
Or to go on an elliptical, or to go on a bicycle, right? I mean, I think you're probably asking me physiologically speaking, right? Why do I run? But I'm just telling.
Who's chasing you?
Well, I'm telling you practically first. Yeah, I mean, dude, running to me, the way I look at it and the way I do it, by the way, it's like lying down. It's like squatting off the couch. It's like being able to, sit on your toilet or lie down on the floor and get back up or walk. It's a thing that people have done since the dawn of time. Sure. So I use it as a thing that I should be efficient in. Again, not efficient as in a sense of like a marathon runner. I would never want to do that because those guys don't even look their running is good, right? But they look awful, don't they? They're always very scrawny. Sarcopenic.
Osteopenic.
Yep. I don't want to go to that fucking end range. So I say to people, run, but don't become a runner. See what I'm saying?
That's brilliant. Oh, that's brilliant.
So I run once a week, twice a week. You know, if I'm feeling chunky, and again, also another thing is if you enjoy, because not all people enjoy it. Some people enjoy it, some people don't enjoy it. I go back and forth. Sometimes I don't. Oh my God, dude, what do you mean? I go outside and like just spend 30 minutes in my head? No, I don't want to do that. But sometimes I'm like, hey, I put on some fucking new tunes that I find. That's how I find a lot of my music. I'll put on some music, and I just run. It's like a meditation for me.
Yeah.
I'm not timing myself. People that time themselves, unless they're professionals, are assholes. Okay, just gonna go out and say
who drink oat milk. They come home
probably
and just
drink oat milk
out of the carton.
Exactly. I don't time myself. I mean, I kind of know how far I'm running, but I just have a set point here. I just run pier to pier. I just really like that run. It's like Santa Monica Pier to Venice Pier. It's on the beach. I'm getting sun. I'm getting the freshest air possible in LA, right by the beach, right? And that's it. Sometimes I go to the mountains or whatever. So.
And do you have like a shoe that you wear? Because like I'm super like flat, Vivo barefoot type person.
Yeah, I've been through my journey with shoes too. The first barefoot shoes that I ever got was New Balance was kind of the OGs in making actual zero drop shoes. Nike started with the Nike Free. It's funny because it's called Free, but it still had like 4 millimeters of a difference, right? So it's like not really free. It's like free-ish. That's what they should have been called. And I got New Balance that was like commercially available. That was like the first. Of course, I bought the Feiyus, the Chinese Feiyus. People use them for Tai Chi in China. In China, it's like a throwaway shoe. Not throwaway, but like, it's like $1 shoe you buy at every market. I have those currently. I just stocked up on those. I bought you can buy them for about $20 on Amazon or other places. I stocked up on those. Then I got into some, I read Born to Run. Have you read that book?
No.
It's a book from this journalist guy that got interested in running. Well, he was a runner and a journalist, but he kept getting injured. He would get
with journalism.
something like that. But he would get injured, and he got tired of it, so he started researching why the fuck am I getting injured all the time, and some people don't. And this was years ago that I read this book. But it's a pretty good book, actually. If you're a runner, you'd enjoy it. Or if people are interested in just the state, the mind, the kind of the process. Well, anyway, this journey took him down to I think it's a mountainous region of South America where they have these Mexico, where they have these tribes that part of their thing is to run 50 milers. And they do it in leather sandals. There's no cushioning at all. It's just a sandal, just like a Vivo, right? And he found out that none of them had injuries. And that took him to another guy and another guy and another guy. And that's the guy and then he met another guy called Barefoot Tim or something like that. So, and then this Barefoot guy, he's the guy responsible for bringing to us the 5-foot fingers. Remember the 5 finger shoes? Yes. Which one time I was at a bar and the dude was wearing those and I was like, bro, not here, bro.
Not the venue, my guy.
Yes, not the venue, my guy. I get it. I like your rebellion. I get it. You're a runner. We get it. So I bought some of those too back in the day. So it's a good book to read though, because he does talk about the idea of where do we have this thought of why do we need cushions on our heels? Where'd that come from? How Nike kind of built that perception of people, and how to this day people think, you need a lot of cushioning. And I mean, again, I guess it depends what you're doing. If you're a professional marathon runner, you probably need one of those shoes because you're pounding daily. But then again, you look like shit. So I would never want to, I would never advise anybody to go that route. I got some Vivos who now they go for what, $150?
They're pricey, dude.
$150 per cardboard slice, right? So it's I mean, dude, it's like a fucking, talk about penis skin, right? I mean, they look good. They look good, right? Those are probably the best looking ones, the coolest ones. I think I have some pictures on my Instagram of me running in those. But there's absolutely nothing there. And I've done 10 miles in those, fine, no problem. But again, like I said, I've been running in barefoot-ish or barefoot shoes for a while. I also run on the beach barefoot. Currently, I'm really into Ultra. Great brand, dude. So it's all of their, I don't know all, but most of the shoes, it's all targeted towards zero drop shoes with a thick, not thick, but there's a little bit of a padding there, but it's still zero drop. So see what I'm saying? Versus like if you have like a Nike shoe and you want like a little bit of cushion, just because again, you're running on pavement, some cushion helps. But the Nike shoes are elevated, whereas Ultras are all flat. So I've been really digging those. So if anybody, if you want to sponsor my podcast, Ultra, I'd love that. But but they make good shoes. So I run in those. So basically the idea being, again, it's like as if I'm running on the floor, because there's no, because if you're standing on the floor, your heel's not elevated. You're not wearing high heels, right? If you're barefoot. So that's probably the way your foot was shaped, right? Via whatever, evolution, whatever, believe it or not. But the point is we got here not wearing shoes, right? So, or sandals, so they were barefoot. So there was no heels on them. And that's why, by the way, women have a lot more issues. They have a lot more knee problems, ACL tears, MCL tears, stuff like that, because they wear high heels a lot more. So they have their heel elevated. And they also get bunions because that drops the foot forward, the toes forward and squeezes them, and you get this bunion.
And guess what? I have no sympathy for them. Zero, none at all.
Yeah, I would. So I wear those. But yeah, once a week, I think everybody once a week can do a 30-minute run. I don't see any. And again, by run, like I said, I'm not timing myself, as slow as possible. Seriously, as slow as fucking possible. The only thing that separates running and walking is that at some point, both feet are off the floor, right? So if you're kind of hopping up and down but going real slow, you're running. There we go. I just think it's like, like I said, like squatting. Like a lot of people can't squat down, like to take a shit.
Right.
You ever been in Asia? Russia, they have them still to this day too, some places, where you have, for the bathroom, it's just a hole in the ground. Yeah, that's how we used to shit, my man. That's how people shit. That's how our... And
now, I, in my bathroom, have a squatty potty to replicate what we've lost.
Correct. Now, you could use a squatty potty. I've done it before. I don't know. It went. I don't remember. I got rid of it somehow or something. But or you can just squat. Sit in a squat, read a book, right? Just get in that position. My toilet's
too high. I would have to put my feet on the sides.
Oh no,
of the...
yeah. I'm not saying while you're shitting. Look, listen to me. I still enjoy shitting on the normal toilet. Fuck that squatting stuff. Although it does squeeze out your colon a little bit, right? So you get a little bit of that squeezing effect going on. But really, you can go to Google, YouTube, and check out. There's videos of African tribes that are still somewhat wild or whatever, and they're squatting around a fire and eating. They're just sitting in a squat and eating, right? It's a resting position. So I think,
infants have perfect ass to grass squat form.
Correct. Yep. And then over time we lose it because we stop getting into that position, and then everything else around our environment, the chair, the toilet, it's all built to not get into that deep position. So that's how I look at these things. Do you see what I'm saying?
I like that. I like that answer. I have to ask because you asked me and you made the post, so now it's my turn. What's your history and present day experimentation with steroids, SARMs, supplementation like that?
Yeah, I've tried some SARMs, which were kind of, again, dude, the thing with all this shit is, like I said, I wish that I really know that it's the real deal. You don't really know. You ordered it from, that's the company that works. Yeah, okay, it works, but it's not like you have a fucking microscope and you looked under it and it said, Nick, this is real SARMs, right? You don't know.
Yeah.
It's just, so I've gotten some little results from SARMs, but I don't know. Again, I think also another thing that coincides with people taking steroids is people get excited and they start working out a lot more, right? Right? Yeah. So you get excited, you start going to the gym. How do you know it's really the fucking SARMs? It's not maybe usually going to the gym. Unless, of course, if you have, Dorian Yates fucking giant muscles, right?
Yeah.
That would tell you something is happening there. But so like I said, I don't know if I've really gotten any real results there. I've tried some Winstrol. I've tried some Anavar. But really, man, I've tried some. The thing that was the most noticeable is just taking testosterone, just using testosterone. And it was just an experiment that I wanted to do at some point in my life. And I don't take anything currently.
Did you PCT off of that? Did you feel the need to, or did you just stop?
Nope, I just stopped.
I think PCTs are a bit of folklore, to be honest with you.
And most guys that you talked to back in the old days, none of them did that shit.
None of them did.
Yep.
None of them did. They took stuff that was stronger than ours and then stopped, and that was it.
Yep. Now maybe some of those guys.
Test bases.
Yeah, and like all things, right? Like we were just talking about complexion or whatever. The more complex things became, so maybe like people need to do PCT now because they're taking HGH, and I don't even know the new stuff that people are taking. You know, I don't know half of it anymore because, you know, my interest in that stuff peaked at like insulin and clenbuterol and all that kind of stuff. So I don't even know. Maybe nowadays, it's probably a good idea to do that. So I'm no expert. You know, maybe that's where guys like Derek are good to chat with and stuff. But the old school basic testosterone, nobody did PCT. It was just, you just do some testosterone, you get hardened up, you get a little veiny, right?
Mm-hmm.
You get a little more, your skin becomes a little more drier, and then you just stop.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't know. Like I said, there's that question, like you brought it up, right? The, you know, question of like, do we need to be pushing back on the environment? It's a thought. Like, it's a thought in my mind. Maybe as I'll get more older, my testosterone will go down further. But like, I feel like until I've been wanting to make a post about it too. I don't know, man. Like, I feel like until I really notice, like, oh my God, my testosterone is terrible, or I'm having some sort of real effects, I don't want to rely on it yet. I want to rely on my balls, on these nuts. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, I have a fine sex drive, I have a fine libido, so like, I don't know, you know, if I kind of want to, because there is that factor of if you take it for a while, it will. Although you've heard different things. I've heard of guys taking it for years and they stop and they have no problem. They get their girlfriend pregnant, no problem. It all comes back. But I've heard of the other way a lot more, where guys take it for a long time and their testosterone is just 5 forever after that, right?
And that's where I wish there was a venue to have a better discussion about this, because it is so secretive, and the guys who do have the real sources don't tell where, you know, they don't share where they actually got the real stuff. Like Greg Doucette will not tell you where he gets his stuff. Derek, the only things he shares are where the SARMs that he knows are, you know, have certificates of analysis and whatnot. But I hate how much I've had to tinker with my own body to figure out what does work, because there's so much money and time and toxicity that I've had to spend to get to a point where I'm like, you know, I don't think pinning 250 milligrams of linseed oil into my deltoid is a good idea. And, oh, wow, pregnenolone is really important to prevent testicular atrophy if you're taking any sort of exogenous stuff. Well, hang on, maybe I should have just started with raw DHT powder instead of a derivative, which is hepatotoxic. Like all these things that like we don't talk about that really are important. And then my comment on what you said about the environment and if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Something that I've realized over the years of tinkering with everything, not just androgens, is you don't know how good you can feel until you feel it.
It's true.
And I've found that sometimes taking a supplement like thyroid, and it gets into a state of being that it doesn't feel drug induced. It feels genuine. And it feels correct to be alive. And that's what Ray talks about euphoria. When he says euphoria, he doesn't mean methamphetamine. He doesn't mean weed. He's saying, like, if you're not euphoric, you're degenerating structurally. If you're not so jazzed to be inhaling and exhaling and the world is, you know, a safe and happy place, something is not correct. And that standard for me is what I hold myself to as a person. Like, if there's a substance that I can take that promotes that, I'm going to pursue it, because I've spent and this is just me personally, I'm not saying everybody has to do this, but I've spent so much time being depressed and sleepy and overweight and lethargic and all these things that of course I'm going to take something that makes me not feel that way.
Mm-hmm.
And the societal opinion of like, oh, you're on drugs, like you're going to take that. And then you realize, okay, well, how did I get here? The most likely explanation for why I'm a narcoleptic is in 2010, I had a flu vaccine. In that same year, there was an 800-fold increase in narcolepsy cases in Finland for the pandemrix vaccine. The H1N1 shot induced that. So I took a drug that I didn't have a choice to take, and now I'm in a state of being that is less than optimal. I would argue that it's pretty horrible. And you want to tell me that I can't take a drug that makes me feel better because now I'm a person who takes drugs.
I'm with you, man.
So
I like the I like the idea of holding yourself up to a standard, because I think if everybody did, I think the world would be a much better place. Because like I said, that thing about, people just being fucking worn out just from working and just from stress.
Yeah.
And a lot of people are just not real with themselves. They're not. They're like, oh yeah, man, I love my life and I make all this money and my girlfriend is happy. But like you look at their eyes and they're just tired. They're tired all the fucking time. So, but I'm still kind of in a place though where I still believe that taking care of the, that like analogy of like big rocks versus like the smaller rocks and then the sand, the things that fill up the bottle. I think taking care of those big rocks is more important. And I think anything you can take exogenously is the sand, is the little rocks. At least I think the big rocks is like, are you happy with your fucking life? Like genuinely, not like, are you just, yes, being tired could be a symptom of you not being happy. But I just mean like, are you genuinely happy? Like, you cool with your job? No? Okay, well, fucking figure that shit out,
Sure.
Quit your
Instead
fucking
of trying
job.
to take Adderall to get through your job.
Bingo.
Stop it.
Bingo. Yeah, or like, dude, like, oh my God, I'm so tired all the fucking time. You think if I take some TRT, I'll feel better? Like, yeah, you'll feel better. You'll feel better. But it's not going to fix your shitty fucking relationship, which with your girlfriend, you should probably broken up with a year ago. Tell her to fucking die. No, don't be nice about it. No, you don't need to be, hey, we need to leave on good terms. No, you don't. Tell her to fuck off and die. Done. Okay? Be real with it. A lot of people are not. And I think most people that are in these situations, and by the way, this is myself included too, right? Like I'm saying, like, it's so hard to be real with yourself sometimes and that's why you're always searching for that exogenous, what can I take, or what can I do that'll make me feel better? Oh, dude, thyroid. It's not making me feel better. More thyroid. More, right? That Star Wars fucking meme. More.
Yeah.
No.
I think that's probably like the single most important thing that you said so far.
Yeah, man.
Seriously, because like I watch myself try and find the pill that solves the underlying problem that has nothing to do with the physiology. It really doesn't. And my roundabout, it's a very circuitous way of realizing what you just said, was spending way too much money in a cupboard full of supplements to realize it has nothing to do with the zinc deficiency, bro.
Yeah. And this can be extrapolated to many things. True story. Had a client, shoulder starts hurting. Like so many people do, right? What do people do? Your shoulder starts hurting. Okay, I'm going to go see this PT. I'm going to go see this other guy. I'm going to go see this chiropractor. I'm going to go see this massage therapist. I'm going to go get acupuncture. I'm going to start taking magnesium, right? I'm going to start taking zinc. Yada, yada, right? So you start doing all these things. None of them fucking work, right? More, other shit. Okay, and then we start chatting. What's going? And then like one day he's like really down. I'm like, what's going on, dude? Man, I went out with this chick and we went out. We went back to her place, make some hanky panky, and I didn't see her for a few days and a few weeks, and then she told me that she's pregnant. And he's like freaking out now. He's like, I don't want her. She was just a girl. Like, what the fuck? And then now she's telling me that she wants to have the baby. And then now she's telling, and it just, this story went on and on for months, bro. For months. And then she stopped. He's like, hey, let's get together and talk about it. No. She starts emailing him. I know you've been seeing other women while I'm, what? So then he slowly realizes that she's kind of a stalker. She starts hitting up people that are on his Facebook. This is like, again, a while ago. So when people are still using Facebook. And And then he's getting messages from other girls. They're like, hey, who's this crazy person that just contacted me? He doesn't fucking Okay, anyway, long story short, it ends up being that she lied to him. She was just a crazy stalker. She told him that she was pregnant and she wasn't at all ever. She even sent him fake baby pictures, by the way, like a fake, you know. Yeah. People can be fucking. People can be evil. It's a real thing, dude. Mm. And hey, maybe he, I don't know, fucked her over, did something bad, but nobody deserves that. I don't think, you know.
No.
He's like he's a normal person, normal job, you know, nothing, I don't know. He's not like a crack addict or anything. So anyway, long story short, finally figures out that, yeah, it was all bullshit. She's a stalker. We're good. Bye. Shoulder stops hurt.
Yeah. Okay.
And then literally overnight, I see him the next day. How's your shoulder? What? Oh yeah, it's fine. Forgot about it. Seriously, it was like that. Meanwhile, I'm trying to like massage it and give him some supplements and give him some fucking magnesium oil and tell him to do these stretches and to do this external rotation. And am I saying all that stuff is useless? No. But I think there are a lot of times, not always, a lot of times there's bigger stones to turn.
Yes. Yeah, I've described disease before as like our whole body is a chain with links in the chain, and environmental or life trauma will weaken particular areas, and then a life stressor will yank the chain, and then something's going to break. And it's just that whatever was most rusted. Mm-hmm. And that can be a shoulder. For me, it was like nausea. Like the last 3 months, I've been going through some stuff, and I was just nauseous all the time. Mm-hmm. And sometimes you can pull yourself out of it with a supplement, for sure. Mm-hmm. And then sometimes it's a life decision. I remember I had a girlfriend, and I was becoming physically ill. Like my Tourette's was coming back like crazy. I mean, I looked like Rosemary's Child having a demonic possession on the bed. Mm-hmm. And the OCD was going nuts, and the depression, and I was losing weight, and I was sick, and I broke up with the girl, and then things got better. Mm-hmm. And to have, when you realize that you will manifest illnesses if things are wrong in the world, and if you're just lying to yourself, and I think you said that earlier, like we have a phenomenal capacity to lie to ourselves about. Yeah. I've even seen, I think this is even true. You know, cows eat grass, you know, obviously Dan. Mm-hmm. I've talked with Tim about this a little bit too. Like, so let's say you spent your life eating a standard American diet, you got PUFA strapped to your body, and then all you do is just have a stressful life. So your adrenaline and cortisol are raised, and you're just always burning PUFA. Mm-hmm. And you're literally gaining weight on less calories because you're just stressed. The solution to weight gain then for that person has nothing to do with exercise. It has nothing to do with calories. It's straight up like, if your life gets better, you're going to lose weight. You're going to be less diabetic.
Yep. And I think that even that word stress, though, I wish there was it's a limited word. Because I think when people say stress, it's very common that people like think like, oh, he's having stress at work, or oh, he's having stress at a relationship. Like, that's about it, right? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like when you have it, right? It's not like, no, bro. Like sleeping 6 hours or less than a day is like stressful.
That's stress.
Eating really bad food, even, you know, like it's stressful, or not being able to eat because you're so busy with work. That's a stress. People, you know, the average person who's not into any of this shit, right? They don't think of it that way. It's just like, you mean stress? Like, no, all's good at work, man. I'm making a shitload of money. What about your relationship? No, we're good. Okay. You know, and then the other stuff, it's like they're not catching on. And like I said, we've all done that. I've done that too, you know, like same thing with the relationships, right? Like all is good. Yeah, man, everything is awesome. Working, making lots of money. Weather is beautiful. I'm eating good food. I fucking hate my girlfriend. You know, whoa, what? Yeah, you know, no. I mean, I love her, man. Oh, we're just going through some stuff. What do you mean going through some stuff? Oh, we're fighting every single fucking day. Oh, that. Yeah. That's a stress. Oh, that. Oh, really? Yeah. Hold on. You're saying that like if she like cries and then like leaves and like I have to like beg her to come back into the room, That's stressful? Yeah! You know, like, and it goes up. But even if it's only 4 hours, yeah! You know, it's like, yeah, man, that's a fucking stress, dude. And so it's a limited word because, like I said, and that happens to me with clients. I'll talk to them, you know, anything stressful. I don't like do it like anything stressful in your life, but I'm just saying I'm trying to like find out. And they're like, no, all is good. All is good. You know, and then something eventually turns around and it's like, oh yeah, that is a stress, dude. That's a fucking stress, you know?
Dude, trying to make enough money to pay rent is a stress. And so if we want to just talk about like the difference between anabolism and catabolism of, okay, I want to foster a physiology that can build muscle easily. All right, well then you want to limit cortisol. Well, what's something that reduces cortisol? Going for a walk in nature. What's something that increases cortisol? How about 24 hours a day you wondering if you're going to make enough money to pay rent?
Yep.
And if you're going to be stuck in this 9 to 5 for the rest of your life?
Yep.
Well, then just categorically, the golden age of bodybuilding had a more anabolic mindset than we do today.
Yeah. So there we go.
We have a catabolic mindset.
Yeah. Yep. And it's also, again, those dudes in the 70s that were fucking training, again, it's easy to generalize. Of course, there's some people that were stressed, blah, 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 whatever. But in general, people in 1970, if they were going to the gym and training, it's because they loved it, dude. They were into it. They were going to work out, and they were like, yeah, buddy, let's fucking do some deadlifts or whatever, right? I meet so many people, and I see so many people, just like objectively, externally, that I know this chick is here doing her 2-hour cardio and her 45-minute weightlifting session because she just wants to get a lot of followers on Instagram, because she wants to feel better about her life. She wants to, you know, or whatever it is, win the bikini competition for God knows why, right? She's thinking that that's going to fulfill her. And that is the stress that's not fulfilling her, right? Because she's doing it, and that's why she's losing her fucking period. She doesn't need more estrogen or testosterone or any cream or pregnenolone or progesterone. I would argue that's probably this other shit that she's doing that's really driving her to be in the gym.
Yeah.
Also, how you know is like if a person is wearing fucking sunglasses, a hat, giant what are they, Beats by Dre headphones, a hoodie, they don't want to be there, dude. They're trying to hide from themselves, you understand? They're in there and they're on their iPhone, right? They're watching a movie because they're just trying to like, oh, please don't make me think about this cardio that I have to suffer to do every day. They're hating it. Okay? That, like you said, that's that catabolic mindset. The anabolic mindset is like, yeah, let's go work out, enjoy the workout, not give a fuck, right? Pop some steroids and you grow. Of course, it's going to work a lot better than, you know, this other mindset.
Yeah, that's where I think sports themselves, probably the most beneficial thing about sports is most sports that I know are pretty destructive to the body. Like there's way too much running, there's way too much cardio, maybe there's like physical contact like football or whatever that objectively speaking is more of a distress than a eustress. But the thing that is anabolic, that's euphoric, it's the competition. It's the camaraderie. It's the game itself. Like I play pickleball because it's a blast and some dudes at work wanted to play it. Awesome. And like sprinting around for 4 hours, you know, maybe that's not good for my knees. I don't know. I don't give a shit. But I have so much fun and I have more camaraderie with those guys that like I'm objectively healthier as a result of that. Period.
Doing it because you're enjoying it. That kind of childhood mindset. Yeah, man. I mean, fucking back in Russia, I remember we'd go out in the morning and fucking in the wintertime, we'd build a fort. All day it would take us to build a giant fort. And we didn't fuck around in Russia, dude. We made like igloos, forts and shit. I mean, dude, and what do you think I have for breakfast? Like 2 slices of bread. That's it. And tea. And I'm out there till 6 p.m. building this fucking fort. And then we're blasting each other with snowballs for another 4 hours, right? 10 hours. And I'm like, do you think anybody's thinking about cardio or whatever? Just enjoying it, man. Just doing it for the thrill. You know, I really think that's missing in gym and fitness culture in general. It just became such a fucking watered down thing of just go to the gym, do your 45 minutes, do your 45 minutes of weightlifting, 45 minutes of cardio, check mark, and go home. And then you get your cubes on your belly and they look good. And it's just like, you know, I really miss guys like Jack LaLanne, you know what I'm saying, who just did it his whole life just because he did it. That's it. Like it's an interesting
celebration of the body.
Yeah, like here's like an interesting philosophical question. Like what if what if you went to the gym, but your body didn't change at all? Would you still go to the gym for like 2 years straight? And after, well, not even that. See, because then again, you'll know after 2 years it'll change. What if your body didn't really change? Would you still go to the gym? See what I'm saying? I feel like a lot of people wouldn't go to the gym.
Yeah, I don't know that I would.
Do you see what I'm saying?
I honestly don't know that I would.
Yeah, and me too, right? Like, you know, because again, your body doesn't change. Those 90-day transformations, this is a bunch of bullshit, right? I mean, can you do that? Of course, but like it's such a big stress on your body. Like you can totally change your look for sure. But I just mean most of us are not doing that. Most of us are just going to the gym and you're just keeping your muscle on. You're keeping your fucking cardio there, whatever, right? So like you're just mostly kind of maintaining. So, you know, what if you went to the gym and like nothing changed at all? Nothing changed. Like it's an interesting question, right? To think about like how, again, it can't be either or, but it's just, you got to think about it. Like how far on the spectrum are you? Are you on the spectrum that you're only going to the gym because you want to post selfies on Instagram? You know what I'm saying? That's literally your only motivation. Or are you doing it because you enjoy it? But you can enjoy it for a variety of reasons too, right? You can enjoy it because you enjoy posting Instagram pictures. But like there's something missing. There's something missing there, I think.
You set up another great like left and right bound of doing physical activity, because the person who's, like you said, kind of covered up completely head to toe, that's weighing their food out. And I mean, I've done all this. Everything I'm saying, I've done this. And what it is it's treating your body as a product that you're trying to like curate to present to other people to say like validate this product that I just created.
Resume, yeah.
Yeah, here's a resume, and that's why like we treat our bodies like a bomb calorimeter, and we're measuring out grams of rice because it's like a machine instead of delighting in the activity of, and that again characterizes what Arnold was doing. Like this is why you don't get Arnold today. What you have are bluebell cattle on stage, right?
Yes.
You just have trenbolone sandwiches on stage who have figured out the correct procedures to volumize every muscle on their body.
Very interesting thing you brought up. Have you ever thought about that? That if you look at 1974 Mr. Olympia contest, whatever, any of those, until Lee Haney to me is the last real Mr. Olympia. I think Dorian was after that. Everything after that just went to refrigerator look. They all look the same. Seriously. Yeah. Before that, all those guys they had their differences, right? Like,
yes,
fucking Arnold had his massive biceps, but like toned abs, but he never had like beautifully developed abs. Franco Columbu had all the six-pack, massive fucking chest, massive chest squeezed together. Sergio Oliva kind of was the guy known to have kind of everything except abs. His abs were also just like, toned, but not. He never had the genetical, the six-pack lines. Serge Nubret, Frank Zane, right? They all had their like different looks, and now most of the guys are on their look the same, right? All look almost the same. And what the judges are doing, they're just picking apart little body parts, like this one. They both look the same, but this one is a little more shredded, right? And that's because of the drugs, right? And that's because it became a thing of just go to the gym, do these 15 exercise, do this much of cardio, take these drugs, and you get this look. And it fucking works though, right? Because they all get that look. But see, back in the day, you didn't have that like go to the gym, check. It was like go to the gym, explore. And, of course, it's easy to talk about back in the day. I'm not saying everything was perfect then. Nothing ever is, right? But I'm just saying guys were a lot more explorative. If you try to learn real routines of different guys, they all had different routines. They all had different ways of doing things. You have Chuck Sipes who would do like heavy barbell curls and then superset them with 21s. And then you had other guys that would just do preacher curls, like Larry Scott, the first Mr. Olympia, by the way. He just did preacher curls. That's it. He would just do a tricep and preacher curls. He would do fucking dumbbells, then a straight barbell, and then an easy curl. And he would just do six reps of those, 6 rounds, and go home. That's how he grew his massive biceps. And a lot of Dianabol. Well, not a lot, but remember, 2 milligrams.
and now we have cattle that literally all looks the same.
Yes.
Besides what whatever they were born with that makes them different. Like, well, this guy's a little bit shorter. Well, this guy has like literally a pelvis that's shaped differently than this guy. That's the only differences that we have. Everyone can get damn near as lean as the dude next to him. They can all grow about as much muscle. They're all doing the same exercises. The reason why there will never be another Arnold is because the simple fact, nobody has or will ever have as much fun as he did doing what he did.
Yep.
The dude was loving every second of it.
Yeah, man. I mean, look, I'm pulling up like Mr. Olympia 2020. It's like Big Remy, Phil Heath, and I don't know who the third guy is. All black. They all look the same. They all look the same. They all have the same. I mean, are there minor differences? Yes, but like as a general, right? If you show it to some person that doesn't know, nothing about bodybuilding, they'd be like, yeah, like I don't know, dude. You could take their heads and just Photoshop them, and it wouldn't look different, right? It wouldn't look off. And like I said, and then you look at another picture of, like you said, Frank Zane, Franco Columbu. What was that? In Pumping Iron, it was the last three was Arnold took the first, Franco took second, or maybe Serge took second, and there was Serge Nubret. All three different bodies, three different sizes, three different looks. Right? All muscular, yes, but like really visibly different development, right? And
they all look like a person crafted by Michelangelo. Unique
character. Yeah. Miss those days. And now it's not the same thing. It's just, and again, that's mostly because of the drugs, because, insulin, they figured out how to do these get these androgens to go to the right places. And also a lot of them do synthol. I know that.
Really?
Yeah. I know that from Dave Palumbo. They don't do like, you've seen like the Brazilian dudes that'll like shoot up like massive amounts and it just looks disgusting. It looks like a fucking tit growing on their arm or something. They don't do that, but they'll just like, oh, your bicep is a little lagging, so we'll just put a little bit in there. They put a little bit in there, and Dave Palumbo's he has a pretty good podcast if you're into genetics. I mean bodybuilding and stuff. RX Muscle, I think it's called. But he's pretty good. And he's also a guy, by the way, who took massive amounts of steroids and got off and got his wife pregnant. Clean, nothing. No PCT, no nothing. So it can be done too.
Hear that, kids? Take all the drugs. Don't do a PCT. Get women pregnant.
No, yeah. So, I think it's fair to say we arrived at like I said, I don't have the moral problem of like, don't do right. It's just, I think there's a lot of stones people should turn and be real with yourself. And it's very hard. It may take you a year to get real with yourself, right? Like in relationships, like we talked about, right? How to be like being really fucking honest. How early did you know that you should break up with this girl until you actually fucking did it? Probably
months in advance.
Maybe years, dude. Maybe years. How about marriages, right? That just like, fucking, they're fighting for 2-4 years. And then finally, after 7 years of this bullshit, they divorce, right?
Yep.
I'm not saying it's a good thing. I don't want people to do that. But like, you got to get real with it too. You got to be honest with it. So I think a lot of people are just leaving so many stones unturned. I have low T. Fuck figuring out why I have low T. Get on TRT. Let's go. Oh man. Yeah, boss. Well, it's been a good chat. Anything else you wanted to add? I mean, we can keep talking all day. I don't give a fuck.
I think that's it. I'm feeling a little bit flat. I need to go get a pump, dude.
Go get a pump. You gotta work out today? Didn't you already work out, you son of a bitch?
No, that was a joke. But I do have to hit the gym.
Okay. Where are you working out over there in Florida these days, huh?
There's just like a 24/7 fitness. I try to find the gyms that are owned by like a guy instead of
very good, very nice
chain.
Oh, they're the worst, dude. They're the fucking
categorically
worst.
Different experience when you do that. And something that I've found that should be the case is, and this kind of goes back to the anabolic mindset. If everything else is in place, you should be able to work out less than you think you have to and like maintain or grow.
Yes. And also, again, being real with yourself. I know a lot of people that go to the gym for 3 hours, but they do 3 sets of bench press. Okay. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. It's 3 sets of bench press, 3 sets of iPhone, Instagram, right? So you got to like, And I always say too, the more in shape you are, the shorter your workouts can be. Actually, people would think it's the other way. Like if you're in really shape, you can fucking work out for no. If you're in real good shape, you can push yourself really hard for 30 minutes, and then you're dead.
Yep.
You're done. Okay, and they don't need to be for the average person. I think an hour is fucking plenty, dude. Plenty.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, brother. Thanks for coming on the show. We should do this again sometime. We'll come up with something else and we'll have a good time and do it again. Yeah?
Absolutely.
All right, brother.
You own, end up owning you.